Yeah, I can start.
Okay.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams. NYC.
All right. What's going on, KOT family? As you know, our main man, Jay Ellis, our fearless leader, was at the NY Post tonight doing a live stream with our man, Dexter Henley, friend of the channel. So he could not be here tonight. So you're left with me. Apologies in advance because I'm jumping all the way out the window tonight. And I brought some friends with me. As you know, I got my number one co-host, Ebony, former D1 baller, in the house. Also got some special friends joining us as well. We got B the Motivator from a Knicks world and a very smart Twitter voice on the app, as well as my main man, Uncle Freezy. Blorange Tears is here in the house, finally, as a guest on our channel after having me as a guest on his channel. I'm going to do it in a minute, but I want to let you know what just happened. If you have been sleeping under a rock or happen to take a nap, or maybe you at your side chit's house, or side dude says, I don't know what your motivations are, but they might not be Knicks. So if they aren't, let me retool you on what happened tonight. The Knicks got back in this series, and they did it with defense, 111-94, led by the captain Jalen Brunson dropping 32, 5 and 5. Karl-Anthony Towns, very dominant again the fourth quarter, ensuring a win with unstoppable post moves, chipped in 24, 13, and 3. Mikal Bridges, an efficient game, again got us through the first half with a shot making 12, 3, and 5. And Mitchell Robinson, these stats might not jump out, 6 and 6, but if you know ball and you love ball, you love Mitchell Robinson because he is the king of intangibles, the king of defending in gaps, and the king of guarding two guys on a screen, my main man, Mitch. Let's start this show off right and start from the very best. My number one chick in the house. What's up, sis? I see the Raptor mask is on. I know my girl hype. I know she was hyping the Twitter spaces with your Tate Knits, and now you're here on the show. Ebony, kick us off. How are you feeling after a great W with the Knicks back in the series?
I got off mute on time just now. That's how I know I'm feeling good. But I like just it ain't over till it's over, y'all. It ain't over till it's over. Point blank, period. They still have to play games. You want to end the series out? I'm sorry, my Raptor going off in the background. Yeah, you want to end you want to end the series very quickly because you don't want to let a team figure something out. You don't want to let a team figure something out. And it seems like we figured something out. Like today, this is why we was all the Knicks fans all over going crazy. Because we should have been doing this. We could have been doing this from game one. Like, we know this is the way we play. We know this is our team, what we saw today. We know that type of defense we can play. It's just the fact of us playing smarter, not harder. And I felt we played I got to turn this off. I heard you got to... I think we played a smart 4 quarters today. Normally it's either halves, it's first half, second half, but we played a smart four quarters. That's why I have been on here saying offense, joffense, defense and rebounding, please. Defense and rebounding. Can't wait to break this game down because we did a lot of good things tonight.
And with the opportunity with Ryan doing his coding courses and Jay Ellis being with NY Post, I thought it was a good chance to bring two people whose opinions I really, really respect. Two people who I've had arguments with, I've had debates with, sometimes a little testy, a little feisty back and forth, which you know I love as Leah's Thibodeau. But one of those guys is a very brilliant mind overall, not just in hoops, but a great empathetic, intellectual. My man, Uncle Freezy. How are you feeling about this game? And how are you, brother?
Let's go. Get
My
that
man.
energy up, bro. Somebody said, first of all, I'm gonna just say this. As soon as I saw Eb with the costume, I was like, yo, what kind of life am I living, man? I legit was about to walk out of here and just go throw my whole wardrobe in the trash when I saw the dinosaur. I was like, what kind of life am I living if I don't have a dinosaur around? So Salute to everybody living their best life. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Salute to everybody living their best life, man. Thank you, Lee, for inviting me and having me in. Man, I really appreciate that. Anytime we can talk Knicks basketball, it's always exciting to for me. Tonight I saw the chess moves being moved in unconventional Tom Thibodeau ways, which renewed my I guess renewed my love for Tom Thibodeau a little bit. The fact that we came out and basically said, okay, Tyrese Halliburton, you can score 30 points, right, as an opportunistic scorer, 30 something points. Let's see if you can score 30 points as the primary scorer, right? Let's see if we can take away everybody else and have you carry the scoring load. That I saw a little bit of that tonight, right? Where we pressured guys, taking away passes and kind of kept the ball in Halliburton's hands to see what he can do. And what I saw with that is a lot of their starters didn't score. Some of their starters didn't score in double digits, and neither did Tyrese Halliburton. Right? And so they got scoring punch off the bench, which is, I didn't think that Tom Thibodeau, or let me say this, I didn't know what counter to the reaction of Rick Carlisle that Tom Thibodeau would use. You know how you make an adjustment and anticipate what the other coach is going to do in a reaction or an adjustment to the adjustment that you made or the new thing that you showed them. Right? Do you have, like, how many spades do you have? How many counters do you have? Right? Do you force them to do a certain thing because you want to trap them into doing something else? And I saw the beginnings of that, and it was encouraging seeing that tonight, because if Tyrese Halliburton has to be their scorer, how effective can the Pacers be when a unwilling scorer has to carry the scoring load? Right? If he was a scorer and had to increase his scoring load, then he would do what comes natural, right? It's like telling Kobe Bryant, you need to take more shots. Hey, Michael Jordan, you need to take more shots. But if you tell John Stockton, hey, Stockton, I need for you to score 40, how natural does that feel to a guy that's a natural facilitator, all around player? I think I saw some bits, a few instances of that. And I also saw something I probably knew these guys had, but after some bad losses, you kind of question it. These guys didn't want to lose and finish off their playoffs on their own floor.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
And so is that a heart thing, or is that like a pride thing? Is that an ego thing? I'm not for sure, but whatever it is, I like it.
We're going to try to answer that question tonight, and we have the right people to do so. But before we move on topic, I want to introduce the last member of our panel, someone who's a relationship that ticked off with a little bit of disagreement, which is how my favorite relationships tick off, is when you're starting to disagree a little bit. That's my girl. That's my girl B. And one thing we do agree on is that Tom Thibodeau is a very, very, very good coach. And if you're going to fire him, you better have a better coach lined up. B, how you feeling? What do you think
like money, baby?
Series moving forward? I want to hear your take.
I'm feeling like money. First of all, thank you, Lee. Shout out to you. I appreciate you tremendously. Shout out to Knicks World, my brother Rel, Stan, Ant, Champ. Shout out to them as well.
Love Stan. Those are guys.
Yes. He told me to say hello, by the way. So hello.
That's my dude. That's my dude.
But I saw a team today. And when we did these signings, when we for once didn't go for the name and we went for talent. And it wasn't necessarily the big talent. It was talent that we needed. We needed defense. That's what I kept screaming all off season. We need defense. We need defense. So when we got somebody like OG and Mikal, the first question I always ask people is, who are you going to replace with them? There's not a lot of people in the league that's as good as them. So when they have their bad games, their bad possessions, it's okay because they show up like today, games like today that matter, that count, and that you need. So when I saw we were going in that direction, some trades and some things hurt, but you start to see the big part of it. And today, that's what I saw. I saw a team that people keep saying we built it for Boston. No, we built it to win games, to win a championship. We didn't build this team to beat Boston. And because Boston won the championship, that's why you insert them there. But we built the team to win a championship. And that's what I saw today, a championship winning team from the first man off to the last man, from Landry Shamet. Shout out to Landry Shamet. His numbers has been called this series, and people keep saying, oh, he didn't play the first two series. It doesn't matter when you're an NBA vet. And people seem to forget these men are NBA veterans. These are men who suit up and get paid millions of dollars to play basketball. So when their numbers are called, that's why you call them, and that's why we signed them. So when you're questioning why we did get Dylan Wright, this is why we got Dylan Wright. When you're questioning why we got Landry Shamet, this is why we got Landry Shamet. When you're questioning why haven't we traded Mitch Robinson, this is exactly why we have not traded Mitch Robinson. When you're questioning why are we still Towns, this is why we need Karl-Anthony Towns. He's an offensive scoring machine. We need scoring. We have defense. So sometimes when you're complaining about Towns' defense, we didn't get him for that. When you're complaining about OG and McHale's offense, we didn't get them for that. We got a team together to establish their powers. And when you put their powers together, this is the type of performance that you get from Tom Thibodeau. When I saw when he started to hack Mitch and Tom Thibodeau said, Precious, come on here. You want Precious? Here he is. There he is. And that's where he said, checkmate. Because every single time everybody keep asking, when is Tom Thibodeau going to make these adjustments and these moves, forgetting when you make adjustments and moves, players also have to show up. It's not even about just the fact that you have to make these moves. I saw a lot of times that he did put some of these players in the last game or games before that, and they just didn't do their part. So he pulls them out. That's Tom Thibodeau. That's nothing new. So to keep complaining about the same thing that keeps happening is kind of insanity. But in order to be a Knicks fan, you got to be a little insane. So I get it. I understand. But that's what I saw today. I saw a championship team. I saw the bigger picture today. And last time I checked, you need 4 to advance. They only got 3. We got 2. It's not over until it's over, baby. It is not over until it's over.
Question: does the B stand for Bourdain? Because you're Anthony Bourdain cooking in the kitchen right now. Let's go! All right, You mentioned Karl-Anthony Towns, and that's the first player that I want to start with because he's been as confounding as he has been electric. The fouls drive everybody absolutely nuts because they're unforced and they're reckless in times where we really need him to be a stabilizing force on the team. Tonight, he gave you 36 points, 24 points, and 13 rebounds. He shot 10 of 20, 50%, only 1 of 4 from the field. Ebony, what were your thoughts around the Bid Bodega's defense tonight, and specifically the minutes that he shared with Mitchell Robinson? Did you see some optimism that front court can win us another game in Indiana?
Yeah, well, I never questioned if they couldn't. You know who my question is about. Is about that we'll get to that person, but it's not Cat. Cat's defense. It was smart. He played smart again. That's what I put it like that. He's not going to be an all defensive player. We know this. He played a smarter player, more position, better angles, still with the fouls, but it was spread out. I guess he was able to stay on the floor, if you want to say. I love that his in and out approach, his aggressiveness from the tone. I thought again, our players, you don't need a bunch of stars. You need a bunch of people to star in their role, and I thought that our team starred in their role, each and every one of them. Cat and JB setting the offensive tone. Okay, that's our job. That is our job. Let us do our job, and that's what they did. They came out guns blazing. Cat again doing his thing off the dribble, then coming out on the 3-point line. He mixed it up very well. It was always kept the offense, the defense on their toes. And again, I'll give a shout out to Thibs for something that he did, and I wish he did it more. I hope he continues to do it, and I wish he'd done it before. Putting Cat in the corner, like just switching him in different places. What do you know? It works. Just put him in different places and things happen. That corner 3 was so easy for him, and he didn't rush it. It was nobody around him, and he was able to take it. Help your players. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. And today you've seen a lot of help, and you've seen Cat take his time. Very, very, very. He was very intentional today. It wasn't wasted movements. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew where he wanted to attack. It was very, very film like he was in there watching film. So shout out to Cat because he definitely responded on a bum knee. Again, my son is a cancer, so I understand that they really like to exaggerate. So I don't believe Cat is injured until I don't see him play.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like he's injured on offense. Maybe on defense he looks a little injured, but offensively he looks 100% fine. Bit Freezy, baby. How do you feel about Cat's dominance when we need him, specifically in the fourth quarter? Is it surprising to you that Cat is really the guy carrying us to close instead of Jalen Brunson, who won Clutch Player of the Year?
Wow. When I heard y'all speak about Cat, it made me think a few things. Right. One of the things about Karl-Anthony Towns, and I think as Knicks fans, we're just gonna have to get used to it. When you have a Ferrari, when you own a Ferrari, right, you don't complain about gas prices, right? When you have a Ferrari, you don't complain about car insurance because if you have a Ferrari, you have a Ferrari, right? Right. So the thing with Karl-Anthony Towns, like the fouls and stuff, and I know it drives Knicks fans mad, but when you consider what the modern 7-footer, 250-pound guy does in the NBA, they're gonna pick up ticky-tack fouls in all shapes and sizes. Some of them you're just gonna even scratch your head like, why did you grab his jersey 30 feet away? It's what they do. They can't help it. Right? It's just like a Ferrari can't help but be fast and pretty, right? The thing with Cat is this: every NBA player, no matter what they're how great they are, they're gonna have some flaws. All right, no player is perfect, right? Even SGA has flaws, and so my thing with Cat is this: his ability to do whatever he wants on offense is nothing new. Just because we didn't see it in New York doesn't mean it didn't exist, right? But what Cat is the perfect fit for the Knicks offense when we choose to be great. When we choose to be great on offense, Cat is the perfect complement to Jalen Brunson, right? He's the perfect complement to OG and Bridges because if those guys want to cut to the rim, having a 7-footer that can pass in tight windows is crucial. Now, down the stretch of games, we should. That's a tightrope you have to walk, right? Because Jalen Brunson is not only the clutch player of the year, but this is Jalen Brunson's team, right? And so when Cat finishes down the stretch of games, it's one of those things like, even though we do this because we want to win, at the same time, you have to kind of manage this thing of, I just got here. This is Brunson's team. I came here to be complimentary. Now I'm going to do my best, right? But I'm going to be complimentary and kind of do that thing. It's kind of nuanced in that. Now, of course, as a fan, we say, hey man, listen, we got to do whatever it takes to win. At the same time, those NBA players are people too. And on top of that, just the reverse of that, if Jalen Brunson is willing to let somebody else carry the team down the stretch, to me, that means Jalen Brunson is more of a leader than we thought he was.
Oh, that's a really great point. Great encapsulation too. I like no notes on that critique, but also compliment of Karl-Anthony Towns' performance. B, is there anything that you haven't heard so far that you want to add on the pros and cons, both of Karl-Anthony Towns and his impact specifically tonight, bringing home that dub in the Garden?
First, I want to go off of Freezy real quick, though, with the Jalen Brunson. I think a lot of people seem to forget facts. And fact is, he came into this season taking a pay cut because he wanted to win a championship. So I don't think he gives a damn if Karl-Anthony Towns is the one that takes over in the fourth quarter. So if that's what it has to be, that's what it is. I thought coming into this series that Karl Towns had to be the guy due to the fact that the many bodies that they could throw at Jalen Brunson. They have a lot of guards from Naismith to Matherin to They're all those Fitherins. They have a lot of them over there. Even Halliburton sometimes could get on Jalen because he's a lot bigger and cause disruption. And because Jalen Brunson is so great, it's rare that we see the disruption, but we've seen it. We're not going to be blind to the fact. We've seen that he can't get into his groove sometimes. We see that some of his passes are getting deflected. We see that the offense has to go through Karl-Anthony Towns. So I think that since we unlocked that the last 2 games, I think Karl-Anthony was having a good series. So we keep unlocking it, and what Ebony said earlier, the more you play, the more you get to figure out a team. I think Free said that. I do apologize. You figure out a team, and that's where we'll go back into that. I won't go too much in there. Where again, checkmate. You don't want to give it a good team an opportunity to figure out how to play basketball, and I think that the Pacers threw everything at us, and I don't think that they have anybody that could guard Anthony Towns. Yet we haven't seen it. He's his own weakness. Jalen as well is their own weakness. They're so gifted offensively that it's up to them when they want to score. It's up to them when they want to expose their defense, and we showed that today. And I think once you realize that, people like them don't take steps back; they go forward. I don't see how Karl Towns doesn't go off of this game and have another dominant performance.
Damn, great take. Let's move on to a player that's not so easy to define or talk about, Josh Hart. Tonight, Josh Hart played just about the same amount of minutes that he had the game before. He's around 34 minutes. Very much played the same role too, but tonight he had 4 assists to go along with his 12 points and 10 rebounds. Hart has been in times a very infuriating, turnover prone and passing guard, or he's sometimes power forward too when he's the kind of the big off the bench at this point too. Mitchell Robinson starting. Ebony, what has been your assessment of Hart throughout this series, and what did you see differently this game that helped impact the win, even though he played the same minutes, role, and rotations as last game?
There I go with my mute button. Josh, it was a very up and down game. Been a very up and down series for him. Before this, he was one of the most efficient 3-point shooters, which is kind of crazy to think about. Not so much this series, and then again, that quote we said will bite him in his butt has been biting him in his butt because he has not been boxing out, and it's been noticeable. The ball watching, which drives me nuts. He's digressed a little bit defensively, and gotten beat backdoor a couple times, and ball watch, and a couple times too, allow people to go backdoor, get 3-point shots. Today that kind of happened today, like in in 3 quarters, if you want to say, and we were kind of asking Thibs again to like take him out, like maybe again give him a rest, take him out, and then he didn't. He just did it again, and I guess he let him work through his struggles. But again, it's crazy to let him work against his struggles when Shamit and DeLon are doing what they're doing. So this is what I have issues with. But Josh eventually gets it together, and he plays a smart stretch of basketball in the 4th quarter. He starts not staying on the perimeter, but he's attacking and cutting and relocating. You see him constantly relocating, cutting to the basket. You see him see Nimhart on him and say barbecue chicken. You see him constantly see a smaller play on him and say barbecue chicken. So I think he played a smart part of 4th quarter. It kind of saved him and kind of saved us from screaming at Thibs about it, I guess you want to say. But again, that could have been like another time where we're like, all right, Thibs, like you gotta shorten your leash a little bit with him. Like enough's enough. If this is anybody else, do they get that same benefit of the doubt? That's one of the things that I have issues with coaches like that. Like you lose respect out of the locker room sometimes when you do that. Hold everybody to the same accountability. So but I think Hart definitely made up for it because again, his rebounding, he did give us some crucial rebounding to hustle the Hart, the 50-50 balls that he helped us get. That play with the Nova boys, I thought that was key because it shows what our team looks like when you constantly in movement, not one person at a time like a Lego piece or something, but when everybody's constantly in movement. Look how easy it looks, y'all.
You know, what I love about Ebony is most times she has a take, whether it's a hot one or a rational one, it usually can be backed up by data. Tonight, even though we won the game, Josh Hart on the court was a minus 1.4 net rating. Off the court, a plus 66.7 in the 13:53 second role that he played tonight, which is kind of incredible to think about. A lot of those little intangible things he does, I guess, don't show up in the quantifiable stat bots. But Uncle Freezy, were you more impressed with Josh Hart tonight, and what specifically did you see from him that was more encouraging than the what a lot of fans said was an overplaying of him in Game 4?
Yeah, man, I was listening to Ebony just now. I forgot that I was live. See, I was listening to Ebony just now. Ebony must have played some ball somewhere, because when she mentioned that was exactly what we go through. That favoritism, yo. But on keeping it a stack though, just keeping it a stack. Yeah, if we keep it 10 times 10, Josh Hart is the bout it, homie. Like, Josh come with energy, and and you're not always going to be able to quantify what he provides, right? Josh is not what you call a paint by numbers NBA player, right? He's going to do things that look weird at times. You're going to scratch your head at times. Like, Josh, why did you jump in the air and do a 360 only to pass the ball to the guy that was right in front of you in the first place? Right? Josh is going to do stuff like that. Josh is going to pick up Pascal Siakam in transition so that he can guard Siakam in the half court. Like, Josh, Nembhard was right there, and you picked up the big guy. Did you forget that you were little? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like these things, like Josh Hart is the bout it homie. We all have that homie in our life. Like, when stuff go down, you can call that homie because you know they're gonna be bout it. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that,
Ebony's mine.
And if you don't have that homie, I'm gonna just say this to Nick of Time show folks. If you don't have that homie in your life, you might be the homie. Right. It's probably you that people could, you know what I'm saying? So the thing with Josh does during the game, it drives us crazy at times. And over on Blorange Tears, we say Josh giveth and Josh taketh away.
Yeah.
Right. We understand that's what you get, but I would be a hypocrite if I said, if you have a Ferrari, you shouldn't be worried about car insurance. It's the same thing with Josh. Since Josh has been here 2.5 years, and in those 2.5 years Josh has been here, this team has been elite. Now, do we have data to back up why exactly? Probably not, but it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that when Cam Reddish or whoever was traded away for Josh, right, when we were losing games because of lack of effort, you know what I'm saying? What's the other? Kevin Knox. When Kevin Knox was here and in those same roles, and there was like an odd lack of effort, energy type thing, we complained. We didn't complain about it. We didn't know. We didn't know Josh Hart was what we needed. But now that Josh is here, these 2.5 years, Knicks fans every night have dreams of championships. And I'm not saying Josh is the guy, right? Josh is not the guy that's gonna lead us to a championship. But if you've ever seen New Edition, right? Or if you've ever seen a band, if you've ever seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know that there is a great person, and then there's somebody that is super complimentary around. True. That makes the total product great.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what Josh is. Josh is the bout it homie. I was trying to think of another term. I just can't think of one right now. But if you need energy, he's your guy, bro.
Basically, what you're saying is every Michael Jackson needs a Tito in order to be fully fleshed out. I agree. B.
Bama right. Said Golden State legend Kevin Knox.
Stop.
Right.
Stop, Kevin Knox. Stop.
Uh, my main man, Fortnite. All right, B. Josh Hart, even though he had again struggling first three quarters, as usual, he came through when we needed to close it out in the fourth. I've never talked to you about Josh Hart. What is your overall opinion of him on this team and specifically then to this game? What was your view on why he was more impactful today than he was 2 days ago in game four?
I love Josh Hart. Every championship has a Josh Hart. If you check the last few, Derek White was that for Boston Celtics. Aaron Gordon was that for the Denver Nuggets, and that's what Josh Hart was for the New York Knicks. They're the person that you know their name and you see the games, but they don't get paid quite like the Jalen Brunsons and the Karl-Anthony Towns. They don't make the All-Star games, even though they should. Because Evan Gordon and Derek White had some very great seasons where shoulda, coulda. Same thing with Josh Hart. He was snubbed this year, but we'll keep getting back to this. I'm not a numbers person, shockingly. I hate numbers because I think that sometimes people focus too much on them. Some people won't even watch the game, look at numbers, and be like, "Oh, this person had a good game," without seeing how many shots they took or how many turnovers they had or when they played in the game where those points even mattered. So I watched Josh Hart today, and I watched someone who struggled but is a veteran and high I don't want like to say high IQ because sometimes I question his IQ because you're right, he will do the 360 turn spin for the just for a pass right there, but he is somebody who, like you said, he has heart. It is so cliche to say, but he plays with heart. And I'm a coach. I was a player at one point. Shout out Ebony too. When you're an athlete and you're coaching, you're watching the game as a fan. It's not about how you start the game. So when I saw him struggle, I care more about how you finish. And I've never seen a game where even Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart, those are the two people where all season I didn't watch them give up in a game. There wasn't a possession where they didn't hustle or unless he's complaining to the refs, that's a different story, but they didn't hustle or they didn't try. They always played from when the ball went up until the shot clock said zero. And you don't take people like that off the court sometimes. You keep them in for them to figure it out. And I'm glad that he did that. And I think that's why Tom Thibodeau continues to trust him. I don't think that you have two games in a row where you tell Josh Hart, I need you, and he's going to say no because, like he said, he's about it, homie. You don't call that homie, and he don't become that homie if you keep calling him and he flakes on you. He gets that reputation for a reason. And I think that's why you continue to keep a Josh Hart on the court. He's going to figure it out, and he's going to figure. And if not, he's going to have to take his seat and he'll come back. But I never seen a Josh Hart back to back a slump. I haven't actually seen a slump since a New York Knick. He's gonna come out and he's gonna be about it and he's gonna represent. So shout out to Josh Hart.
One of the reasons why I loved being on the show to begin with, but specifically, I really wanted this opportunity to talk to some new voices and bring on former players is because all three of you know X's and O's at a vastly superior level than me. And I love being able to learn from the people that I talk ball with. First, that takes a certain level of humility to admit you don't know in order to listen and not just let the person talk and let it go one ear and out the other. I wanted y'all three on because all three of you have been in these situations, and B, you're coaching Ebony's coaching her son to a degree to learn him the game, making him love the game. I think y'all's perspective on this is exactly who I want to talk to when we're actually behind in this series, and let's try to figure out the why, but also give your analysis as former players to the ups and downs and inconsistencies, as Freezy said, of human beings. At the end of the day, these are people in jerseys playing a game. And there's going to be fallacy and there's going to be fame. And in the end, you have to judge it based on the overarching macro resume, not just on one possession or one game. So let's think about that. Let's talk about the bench before we move on to Mitch. And then I want to have our main combo on Thibs. But the bench, we had three guys that have been absolutely fantastic this series. That have been afterthoughts in the playoffs. That is DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, and Precious Achiuwa. Who knew Tom Thibodeau would play 10 people in the playoff game? I would have bet my entire life savings, which is a couple thousand. It's not much. And I would have lost every penny because Thibs be tipping. And it's insane to see him reach into the bench and playing guys. Some people say not enough, but playing them regardless is very surprising to me, knowing him from Minnesota and Chicago. DeLon Wright in game in game 5 played 10 minutes, Shamet 14, and Precious 6 tonight. I want us to start this one off with Ebony. Ebony, I know you've been calling for the freestyle, and I know you've been calling for an extended rotation, as have I. What's been your overall opinion of those three guys? You can pick out one. You can talk about all three. I'll leave it to you. Ball's in your court.
I think Deuce better chill out. Deuce better step it up, or he gonna be campaigning. No.
Campaigning has become a verb. I love that. It means sitting on the bench.
I love Deuce. I love Deuce. I don't want that for him. But we're talking about matchups. We're talking about vets. We're just talking about pace. We're talking about controlling the team, adding to it, and not taking away. You have to tip your hat off to Sherman and DeLon Wright. Last game we lost, right? But Thibs was more comfortable enough to have Deuce and JB on the bench. With let DeLon and Sherman do their thing. My thing, if you that comfortable, Thibs, why did you wait? Why do you wait till shit hit the fan?
Right.
Like, if you that comfortable to just, hey, all my point guards sit next to me. Let me get Sherman and DeLon out there. Why you ain't been doing that? So then you see an extended rotation, and we see it don't look hard at all. It didn't look hard at all. TJ didn't look like the TJ that we couldn't keep out of the paint. Halliburton looked like the Stuart Little he is. Like, they just contained everybody.
Did TJ even play, Ebony? You just reminded me. I didn't even see TJ McConnell today.
Yep, non-factor. That's why.
Right.
Who else? Sherman on Siakam a couple times.
Right. Fronting.
They had me like, damn, I wish Mikal would do this.
Yeah, me too. I thought about that too.
I a couple times I'm like, I really wish Mikal would do this.
Mikal, take notes.
Like,
take notes for the bench guy.
Right.
Crazy. And then Precious rewarding us. He got a little cameo last game. He come in here and say, "Oh, you wanted to see me. You wanted to see me. Here I am, Mr. Carlisle. You was calling for me. Here I am. That N1, some defense, good screens, starring in your role. You ain't got to score a billion points. Just when your number is called, don't hurt your team. Do something to help it."
But before I pass the ball to Freezy, Ebony, would you play Precious more than 6 minutes? Would you play him more than that?
What today?
Just in general, for the rest of the series, would you continue having him in a rotation? And
definitely.
Would you play him more?
I thought when we were starting to play DeLon Wright and Sherman that he should play more, because that is his former teammate over there. They're not a huge team. That is his former teammate over there. They're not a huge team. Like, that's it. Why not play him? Why not play him? Siakam, I'm pretty sure he knows his tendencies or knows what he's trying to do or where he's trying to get. Like, this is what I mean by playing smarter and not harder. We make it hard for ourselves at times. It's like today was the first time we read a scouting report. That's what it felt like. Like, this was the first game that we actually read a scouting report.
Wow.
All right, Freezy. Wright, Shamet, Achua. What's your thoughts on Mob Deep? Do you think they're been used properly, not used enough? Who do you want to see more of?
The thing with benches is the thing with the bench. If they have an off game, it really impacts the starters, right? But when they're on, they can present different looks that will take a schemed defense and turn it a little bit, right? And give a schemed defense more to think about, right? And I think that's what happened tonight. The fact that DeLon Wright prefers one side of the floor, right, kind of gives the Pacers a look like he's not like Brunson or Cameron Payne, who will attack from anywhere. He chooses to anchor in with the ball. I'm saying not shooting the ball. He chooses to, with the ball, he chooses to, for those that remember Malcolm Brogdon in his prime, like cut the court in half, right? Dissect you in this half of the half court, right? Anything that happens on the backside, you're not going to get anything from over there, but you will get a lot in this area right here. Like if you cut hard, if you pin somebody If you're open, DeLon Wright will find you. And I think the fact that the Pacers saw some of that today, it's like, I'll just ask this. And has anybody on the panel ever played point guard?
No. Hell no.
Yeah, I'm 5'7", so, and when I played, there was no positionless basketball. You played what your size was.
Right, me too. Right, me too. Right. So when I played, I was a very skinny wing player, kind of like Tayshaun Prince, if anybody remember Tayshaun Prince, right?
OG.
But what DeLon Wright does is he forces the defense to not take possessions off on that side that he's on, right? So say, for instance, if Tyrese Halliburton picks him up in transition, Tyrese Halliburton is going to have to guard that man in that half. Now, once he gives the ball up, he's a great relocation shooter, even though he's not a great shooter, but he knows how to relocate, right? And that's very important, especially when you're playing with guys you have not played with before, because being able to relocate is a skill that helps you develop synergy and chemistry, because it's just knowing how to play basketball, right? But and so the thing with he and Shamet, I think it's effective, even though they don't hit many shots. The fact that they present these looks to Indiana's defense gives them more to think about and things of that sort, and don't have them be on the floor and then a starter subs in. Now that set defense has to think about what these two guys present and what this guy, say Jalen Brunson, enters for Shamet, and now you have DeLon Wright, and I don't know if we saw them, just using it as an example. But yeah, I think that the bench is effective even if you don't see the stuff in the box score, is what I'm saying. Right. Precious definitely needs to play more. Right. Because if you just think about this, can Precious Achiuwa guard Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Yes. And if the answer to that is in the affirmative, then of course you want to play him more, not solely as the 5-man, but gives you options to switch certain things, right? When say, for instance, if you have Turner and Siakam on the floor, and you have Mitch and you have Josh Hart guarding Siakam, why would we have Josh Hart guarding Siakam? Josh Hart is 6'4" Like, legitimately, I'm a bigger human being than Josh Hart. Right, and Josh Hart plays power forward for us, basically.
Yeah, I want to say real quick to you about the Josh Hart, that probably happens because we will have to take some of his minutes. That's why Precious won't play, maybe, and we've come to realization that Thibs just won't sub him out.
Emily, back to root cause. Like, the root cause of this, Thibs is not going to sit Josh Hart. Basically, that's why Precious not playing.
It's true. All right, B, I want to read you a quote from Karl-Anthony Towns after the game. Everybody in this locker room is a pro, ready for their moment. You never know when Thibs is going to look at you and say, yo, go in. They work hard every single day, and they're ready when their name is called. What has been your perspective on our mob deep of Shamet, Wright, and Achiuwa? Is there one of them that you think has stood out amongst the rest? And is there anyone that you would play more minutes if you were the head coach than Thibs currently is?
I'm going to give you an exclusive take.
Okay.
We didn't even unlock the Shamet game yet. That game is loading. Landry Shamet, he's been amazing. I came into this season too. I'm not a big Boston fan, as everybody knows, but I did watch this Boston documentary, and it was about the Red Sox when they broke the curse. And when I was watching it, I said, oh my God, this reminds me of the 2025 New York Knicks. We're down right now 3-1, and we have Landry Shamet, where a lot of people say when he gets to the conference finals, there's this weird curse, and I think we break it this year with him. I think he's going to be the key factor why it is. I think there's going to be a game where he hits an outrageous amount of three-pointers. He kind of hit some today, and he just keeps being this defensive juggernaut. The fact that you even said Precious could guard Powell, I kind of was like, wait, but then when I realized that Shamit could guard Powell, I was like, yeah, Precious could damn sure guard Powell Siakam. Powell Siakam, shout out to him, by the way. He's very gifted. He's been playing very well this series, but we have people who can get in front of him. And I saw there was a lot of possessions where he shifted the momentum. It wasn't even about the fact that even if it equated into a steal or a block, or if it equated into a turnover, which would be a statistic. It was the momentum. It was the fact that the crowd, that he engaged the crowd, and he looked over at the bench like, this is our moment. We know the stars are going to do their things, but this is our moment. And every time he did that, I felt like we have something there. It'd be nice to see Dylan Wright. I like his minutes. I think when we had that Dylan Wright, Shamit, and OG backcourt, that was the most beautiful lineup that we had on that court there, because you could match that with Towns, Precious, and Mitch back there. You could even keep Josh Hart on the court with that lineup there, because the way they were switching, when OG would move, there was Shamit. When Shamit would move, it was just beautiful to see that. And Tyrese can't do anything with those people on the court, and that's where I really was excited to see this guy is having fun. When you take fun away from their leader, look at what the team does. You're having Obi Toppin have the best game. When I saw Obi Toppin was cooking, I said it's over for them today. Pack it up, get your belts out. And you want people like them to cook. You want Walker to hit 3-pointers. You want people like Obi Toppin to get 20 whatever points. You want Benedict Mathurin. You want to keep them off the line, but you want them to have the high scoring games, because Pau Siakam and Tyrese, when they get to cooking and you got Turner hitting some threes, that's why we've dropped in this series. But when you put people in front of them like a Landry Shamet, like a Dylan Wright, they're gonna have some trouble. So I'm excited to see that Landry Shamet game, and I'm telling you, it's coming. He's gonna hit like 5, 6, 7 3-pointers. It's gonna be crazy.
I knew this show would be fire, and I knew
It's gonna be.
I knew the tapes. I agree 100%. And Landry Shamet has not shown his full bad yet, and I think it's probably going to happen either next game or Game 7. I agree. To me, he's dollar store Dante DiVincenzo. He has a very similar game. He might even be a better one-on-one defender and a better rim protector than Dante DiVincenzo too. Even though he's only 6'4", he's been incredible. But let's talk about another rim protector.
Hold on, real quickly. I just want to tell you something real quick about Shamit. Yeah, Shamit. Remember we real high. We was real high on him on this channel.
Yeah.
And
Shamit high.
Yeah, getting him. But again, I had told people when it was like Shamit, I'm like, he's going to be big for us in the playoffs. I've said that countless times. I believe Shamit is going to be big for us in the playoffs. And then he had a crappy Detroit game, and then Thibs didn't let him see light until shit hit the fan. So I was kind of surprised that, that we used him the way we did in the playoffs. Like, maybe it was meant to happen. You let him get the fire, get that back, because he seemed really fired up, to appreciate every minute you get.
Breaks the curse, Ebony. He gotta break the curse. The curse gotta break the curse.
Technically, he broke one already.
Wait,
because
did he get to the finals? He got to the
finals? No. It said he never got to every team he was on. Never got to the Eastern Conference finals.
Yeah, correct.
Right. You see, okay, I like that.
So he broke it, but the one that we're trying to keep, the trend we're trying to keep right now is the team that has knocked out the champion in the last 4 years has gone on to win the championship. So that's what we're trying to keep going on right now, and that's why this is making me mad, because I feel like we had a very hard path to this, and this is probably, when you think about it, physicality wise, talent wise, this is probably the team that I thought we had the least problems with. Even with Detroit, I knew that was going to be a physical game. I knew we was going to finish. It wasn't going to go 7 though, but I knew it was going to be a very physical game. They play defense, they play rebound. Here, Indiana, I feel like they got a mask on, y'all. Like, it's fake. It don't feel real.
Checkmate. It's going checkmate.
It don't feel real. Like, it feels like they're pretending to be somebody else right now. And like right now, we just like, I got you, mask. I got you now. But not even I got you. It's I got us. Like, it seemed like we figured out something today. And I'm sorry, Lee. I know you wanted something.
That's okay. I love listening to you cook. You're one of my favorites in the whole world to listen to cook. Mitchell Robinson. And I'm going to flip it on this. I'm going to let Ebony go last, because I want to give her flowers before she goes, for being the #1 staunchest Mitchell Robinson fan that I've ever met. My dad asked me today, he was like, hey, who's your, he knew Brunson's my favorite player. Who's number 2? Without question. quickly answered Mitchell Robinson. Not just because he's a longest tenured player. I have always loved defense. Ben Wallace was one of my favorite players ever watching. I loved, oddly enough, that old Pacer team with Jermaine O'Neal, May in the middle. I love the team being Mutombo. I love big centers. They're able to defend. Mitchell Robinson is who I thought Nazir Muhammad was going to be, but Mitchell Robinson has a whole nother level of defensive acumen. A whole nother. I went deep in my bag on that one. Not Michael Doliad, but Nazir Muhammad. Mitchell Robinson has been the X factor the entire playoffs. Usually the X factor shifts series to series, not for us. Mitch has been the X factor so much so he has been inserted into his starting lineup and it's completely changed the net rating expectations of our starting lineup on defense. And now we're finally starting to unlock him a little bit as a lob threat and letting him get the offensive rebound and put up himself instead of the expectation to pass it out. And it's been game busters against the Indiana Pacers who have no ability to neutralize them. I want to start with
some milk.
They do. He also needs some new bodies. So some of those bums come off the bench don't look like NBA players to me. But I'm not going to be too hateful right now because we got the W.
Good vibes.
I want to know your thoughts overall on Mitch. Have you always been a Mitch fan? Has been like me? I kind of grew to love him. Once Ebony joined the channel, I didn't really have any chance because every time we got in debate, I had to walk away saying, "Damn it, she was right." What has been your opinion on Mitchell Robinson in his entire 10 years, the longest tenured one? And describe in your words and poetry how you feel like he's really impacted this series as the X factor.
We don't win without Mitch. Check the tweets. I've been saying it since we drafted him. That was one of the biggest steals. That's first of all. People don't even talk about the steal that we got in Mitch Robinson. That's first of all. Second of all, crazy take number 2. He's top 5 center when healthy. I always said that. I defended that. I said that, and I don't see how people don't see that. I also said if he gets an offensive bag, he's the best center. I'm sorry, Jokic, because he can play defense. He gets an offensive bag. He shoots like Jokic. He's better than Jokic. He plays defense, period, point blank. And it's not just regular defense. It's dominant defense where that's why he's in the starting lineup. And we're now back in this series defense. Mitch Robinson is Mitch Robinson. There's no other way to describe him. When I start to even think and talk about him, I just think about it's so hard to put into words. But now that you've been asking me, that you put me on the spot to think about Mitch Robinson, because the trade talks, the downplay of him, the first of all, did you guys remember that Minnesota was trying to get Randall and Mitch for Towns? And we said, fuck no, because right now Minnesota would still be fighting against OKC with Mitch Robinson.
Perhaps, yeah.
They would, point blank, period. And when I said a crazy take on one of the spaces one time where I said Mitch Robinson is Saquon Barkley, you give him to another team, they win a championship, point blank, period. That's how important Mitch Robinson is to a team. And that's why I never was okay with him in the trade talks. And that's why I always wanted him healthy to prove to people all that people are prisoners of the moment. And they seem to forget impact and the tenure that he had. He was a guy that was drafted, I believe, end of the first round, the second round. I apologize, Miss Robinson, off the top of my head. And he wasn't even supposed to be anything. He was supposed to be an afterthought. He wasn't even supposed to be somebody that you're now worried about, that you have to hack him so that he's not in the game. He also had so much injuries that people are telling him he should retire. I heard that in some spaces. I'm like, retire? I even heard things of that nature, telling this man to retire, telling people that it's okay that if you gave them Randall and Mitch. No, Mitch Robinson is that important. And again, we goes into, by the way, Mikel's my favorite Knick, but he's my second favorite Knick as well. I love Mitch Robinson. We don't win without him. Last time I checked, whenever he's healthy, we win a series. And so far, that's been the case. He's been healthy this entire playoff run, and we're still rocking and we're rolling. So I hope that stays true. But every time he went down, we had no fighting chance. It was just almost impossible because, like you said, even though it's been positionless basketball, you need a big on a basketball court. I've been watching basketball for 30 years. Yeah, I don't know a basketball team that you don't have a big, you win a game. You need a big. You need a point guard and you need a big. And we have both those things. So I'm excited to see how Mitch continuously puts his talent along with the Karl Towns, because he is a defensive anchor and you have an offensive juggernaut. You put those two together, oh my God. People keep talking about all these other center duos, and we have the best one. I believe hands down we have the best power forward and center duo in the league.
They told me that you can't cook with too many cooks in the kitchen, but I think this episode
it depends how big it is, and we eat it.
We are eating good.
Depends on how many people you feeding.
Yes.
Right now we're feeding all in its nation.
Right.
Uncle Freezy. The play where Mitchell Robinson sprinted back to defend the passed out Siakam fast break and then prevented the easy bucket, to me was one of my favorite plays of a game and favorite plays of a season. Even though he had to foul, it proved his worth, and that type of energy is exactly what we want to see from every single player on this team in order for us to get back into the series. Did you have the pulpit? Give me your
Too bad. Tom Thibodeau won't use them.
Let's talk about it.
I don't
You
want.
have the
I don't
pulpit.
want to. I don't
Give me the
listen.
circle.
I don't want to. I don't want to be the wet blanket, right? But too bad Tom Thibodeau doesn't deploy Mitch, right? He gives us Mitchell Robinson in snippets. Like if y'all know, it's like Mitchell Robinson played 20 minutes tonight, and you're like, yo, what NBA starting center plays 20 minutes? Even in a blowout, you could say, hey, you know what? We blew them out. It was blah, blah, blah. Right. But then think about the game before this one. Mitchell Robinson played 19 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, the thing is, I like Mitch a lot. Right? I get frustrated. I'm frustrated with the injuries and stuff. When he's healthy, I'm a big fan of Mitch. Right? But what I'm not a fan of, man, is when you have weapons, you have to deploy them. Right? Like Cat is a weapon, Mitch is a weapon, Brunson is a weapon, right? And I think Thibs he doesn't deploy Mitchell Robinson. So if Mitchell Robinson has the ability to continuously guard multiple players in a half court based on, in one possession, right? The ball's moving around, Mitch can keep track with all these and be in. See, the thing is, Cat can do the same thing, but Cat is never in defensive position. Mitchell Robinson can do these things and still be in defensive position. And when he's not, he has the athletic ability to make a play when he's out of position.
Oh.
Right. But Tom Thibodeau won't use Mitch in these ways. Like I always felt like when we play a dynamic guard, right? Like say when I remember last year when we played against Philly. And Tyrese Maxey could just get by any of our guards at any time, right? I always felt like you should trap Maxey because you have a Mitchell Robinson back here with the ability to roam like a free safety and make dynamic defensive plays. We don't do that, right? What I'm saying, I guess, ultimately is what I'm saying is if you love Mitch now and Mitch is not even weaponized, how are you going to feel about Mitch when Mitch is let loose, right? It's one of those things, man, where I feel like Mitch is underused, and I'm not for sure why. On a team that loves defense, why are we not using Mitch as much as we need to? And I don't mean by minutes, right? I'm talking about schematically. Why don't we take advantage of, like, for instance, OG Anunoby plays free safety for us a lot. He can guard his man and zone out an area of the floor and be the safety on that side of the floor while also keeping his main responsibility defensively. But we have Mitchell Robinson in a spot, and we're like, Mitch, just guard this one area and that's it. So I think Mitch has the capability of being much better than what we're seeing. The unfortunate part is, Mitch is not even playing 20 plus minutes a night.
All right, and here we are, the number one Mitchell Robinson super fan that I've ever known. And I think when she joined the show, I wasn't real strong on the play calling bad. I had to in order to have discourse with Ebony, and by doing so, it taught me firsthand experience the importance of Mitchell Robinson. And now I kind of judge anybody if I'm going to have conversation with them and their ball knowledge on how they feel about Mitchell Robinson. So there are your flowers, Ebony, for what you've taught me. The floor is yours.
Appreciate you all the time. All the time, Lee. Just in these spaces for about 2 to 3 years, y'all. Y'all know the meme with the sword and everybody coming at him? That was me in these streets about Mitchell Robinson. That was me. Just everything that I mentioned, Mitch, how he can impact the game is happening. Just his growth. The game is slowed down. to snail's pace for him right now. He's calling out everything. He's seeing it. Underrated part of his game is that people always just call out his rebounding, but no, he is a defense. He is a defender. You know how I always point out how people can be all stars just off of offense, can't play a lick of defense, but as long as they can score, they're all star. I always say, well, why is that not the case with defenders? You get what I'm saying? It's two sides of the ball. Why not? Why is that not the case with defenders? Mitch is elite. He is the definition of a defensive playmaker. He is elite at what he does. Rebounding. He make the biggest of bigs look like they need some milk. Like that's what he does. He carries folks to the basket with him, like easily. Like you don't understand Miles Turner's amount of energy he had to give up today. Why do you think he was a non-factor? That's a lot of energy to have to keep Mitch off the board, rebound, and try to protect the paint. We put tons of pressure on Miles Turner today, especially Mitch. He's not in the same league. I'm gonna keep saying it. Chrysler 300 to that Phantom, because there's a lot of Mitch for Miles Turner trades. There's only one ball, y'all. There's only one ball. You need somebody to do the dirty work. You need somebody that's going to maximize his minutes without having the ball. And that is what Mitch does. He gives us extra possession, deflections, his stealing, his perimeter defense that I heard that he was so trash for. He hasn't really been that bad at perimeter defense for the last 2 seasons. People need to update their takes. That's what it is. They just know for something and they're not really watching and they don't update their takes. The screens he sets gets JB and our shooters some of the easiest shots they have all game. Then the offensive rebounds that he gets, the vision that Hart was supposedly having better than him. I used to always say it takes vision to find these shooters on the offensive rebound. Like not just any shooter, your shooter. It takes vision to do that. So yeah, Mitch is just a game changer. He's a game changer. I had to, I know my name is on here on Twitter is Mad Knicks fan. And it's normally because I'm mad at the outsiders. I keep my no filter for the outside. But I had to do a lot of that today. I had to do a lot of getting in my own community today. I actually seen a trade from a person that said that they wanted to trade. What about a trade for Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart, y'all? For Jared Allen.
Oh,
for
hell.
I not almost lost my mind. I did. I unfollowed bro everything. I'm sorry. I said I don't care if you. I'm not saying that's my followers on
Jared
that.
Allen and Donovan Mitchell. That's what they said.
No, it was no Donovan Mitchell in that trade. It was just those two. I said, are we serious? Are we serious? Do we not see Mitch now? And then did we not see what Mitch did to Allen and Mobley? Like it was 2 of them. They got both conjoined barbecue chicken.
Jared, I don't even like bright lights.
He got a 2-piece barbecue chicken.
True.
He got a 2-piece. So like just Mitch and again I heard a lot of stuff. His hands. I heard he has terrible hands. He can't catch. JB threw him a crazy couple lobs, and when you throw it up, what happens? He catches it. I was telling people that
7 foot.
Exactly. So me telling people that's a point guard's. That's the point guard's job. That's their job to get the ball high. If you threw it at their knees when I played, that was your fault. That's your turnover. You don't throw it at nobody's 7-footer knees. You're making them bend fast too. If you're throwing it as a bullet pass. So again, used to tell people the lob. I wish JB. I get it. He's small. Maybe he can't see. Who knows? But I would love for us to incorporate that lob more. Because it was it was easy. It keeps Miles turning them honest. You see them staying with Mitch a lot more now. 1, to try to prepare for the rebounding, and 2, because they scared of the possibility, of the lob. And Mitch is just amazing, y'all. I don't know. My favorite Knick since he's been drafted. The second round was an All-American, but he's supposed to go to a school. They had his uncle or so, cousin, as a coaching staff, and they fired him.
Mm-hmm.
right before he came, thinking he was still gonna go. So he chose to stick a year out and work on his game. But I've been a fan since I seen him block 3-point shots and jump out the gym. Defense is my favorite part of the game, and he's so elite at it. It's so fun watching him play on that end. Just play in general. The amount of 50-50 balls he gets for us, just tipping it out, pause. The pressure he puts on people, I can't, like, we don't.
Second chance points.
Yeah, we're not this far without Mitch. So the fact that people are still trying to put him in trades, you're goofy. I just, that's it. I'm tired of being filtered with people. That's goofy as hell. And that's just how I'm going to leave it. Like, it's certain things that don't show up. I always say that. That's why another one of my quotes is, "Men lie, numbers don't, but they could be deceiving as hell." Stop box score watching. Don't be a box score warrior. Stop it. You miss context. The numbers don't always tell the full story at all. You can't measure hustle and Hart. That doesn't cap. You can't measure the amount of extra possessions he gets just by putting, rolling to try to get the rebound or tipping it up. Pause. That doesn't show up in stats. That doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Or the amount of times a player hesitates when they see him. That doesn't show up in stat sheets. And that little hesitation is enough for the McHales, the OGs, to recover. So he's without this, we eliminated a long time ago. He was the reason. Remember, I told you, Lee, Detroit, nobody mentioned Mitch. It was, we gotta do this, we gotta shut this person down, we gotta shut this person down. They mentioned Precious even. They did not mention Mitch at all and what he brings and his impact on the game. And I think I told them that was gonna be the big mistake. And he's had a huge playoff. So
I always really like, hearing, like, when you ask people who do you want to replace Mitch with, and then you hear the answers. Because Jared Allen, like, get the guy.
I done heard Rudy, like, I've been in this Mitch street. I've heard
Jonas Valanciunas.
I can't even say this man's name right. I know he don't play no defense. He can't spell defense. Portal Paco, the dude in Toronto.
We are not here with Jonas. We are not here with whatever.
Portal, yeah.
Like, please stop. Okay, people see what other players do on losing teams, and then they lose their mind. But I need you to realize that they're not going to get those amount of shot attempts on this team. I need you to realize that's not the system they're going to be in this team. And I need you to realize that they don't play defense, they don't belong on this team.
And basketball facts, Ebony, offense gets you paid. That's why a lot of people know these names. He's not an offensive juggernaut. The defense is, though, keeps you in the league, and that's why Mitch is still here.
But in fact, and what you mentioned about defense earlier is that to me, the league is going back full circle. Before it was positionists, they wanted to play small ball. Now I've been seeing from the last couple of years, I've been saying for a minute, people want defenders. They want the ball. They want the ball paint protector. They're paying money. If you play both ways of the court, you're getting paid.
That's true.
You are getting paid. Look at OG. Look, that's why people say that we gave away first round picks and this and this and that. We're not stuck. You know how many people would take OG? You know how many people would take a McHale? We're not stuck. If things hit if don't work, we can make tons of moves. Because
not even one. How many teams need?
Yeah, that's what I mean. These are players that fit in any system. They fit in any, so that the first round picks, like, let it go. We wasn't drafting all of them anyway. And if
Brooklyn don't even draft good anyway.
and if we do need a trader, so we have the pieces, y'all. We have pieces to make moves, but we don't need to do that right now.
You know, I ain't even gonna front. I need somebody to love me like how Ebony loved Mitch. if that's a real thing.
If she ain't a Nick, don't make her your chick. I tell people that. If she ain't a Nick, don't make her your chick.
Yo, Freezy, you know what it was? Like, I sat there back and when I first came to Twitter, and Mitch has been my favorite my favorite player. So I'm talking to them. I'm telling them what Mitch is doing, and nobody's seeing it. Like, nobody is seeing it. It got to the point where I'm not very technical knowledge. Yeah, that word was kicking my butt. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm not like tech savvy, right? So I'm over here with my phone clipping stuff, recording off my TV to show people how stupid they was being about Mitch. Like, what are we not seeing? That's the like, what are we not seeing? Because it was really like that from the beginning, and so I just took it on as being a Mitch defender. Like, if you're gonna talk about the guy, I get it. Nobody is above criticism, but at least have some facts behind it, or you get what I mean. Like, just you want Rui Hachimura? What? I done seen trade for Rui Hachimura, y'all. Now,
Yo,
that's
come on, man.
disrespectful. That's
Come on,
disrespectful.
man. What we out here
When
talking
we
about?
have a young Mitch on the bench too, like I can't even deal with people.
Nah, it's facts. It, now I ask people the most comfortable you feel on defense is when Mitch is on the court, right?
Yeah.
Now everybody's X factor this and why is Mitch not out? But I got plenty of receipts from these same folks and me arguing versus them. So I'm being nice at this moment, y'all, because we still in the playoffs. But as soon as this season over, I'm coming for y'all.
I
Because
see.
he's gonna be the reason we win, so it's cool. You got you ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gonna be winning Spider-Man. I already know Spider-Man.
Oh
We in
yeah.
this book. I'm playing. So I see the sign. We
I knew if I
winning
gave,
this year.
I knew if I gave you a pulpit, Ebenezer, you would deliver a sermon. And damn it, did you ever? This is why I'm part of a hashtag Never Trade Mitch Hive, man. He means something to us. He's there. He was there during the horrible Steve Mills era, and he
Yeah.
survived it all to now be the X factor for this playoff run. Before we get into our next and final subject on Tom Thibodeau, I do want to give a shout out to the chat. If you like the conversation, if you like high IQ basketball takes, if you like supporting a channel ran by a young black intellectual, my main man, Jay Ellis, one of the greatest Knicks fan I've ever known in my life, my career, I owe it to him. Please like, please subscribe, please also follow Be Motivator on Twitter, Uncle Freezy on Twitter, and you know my girl Ebony on Twitter, but also follow Fritz Alessander, who's behind the scenes right now, who readjusted all of us when Uncle Freezy's had tech difficulty from the
It's raining down. Man, it's storming in the south, bro.
my man Fritz is doing it on the fly while also moderating the chat, while also managing his own channel, the NBA Economy Show. Please go follow that on YouTube as well. He is the fifth Beatle. He is the most beloved. He is the greatest mod dot in the game. I love you, Fritz. And also to the chat, I see Ape in the chat, Gregory Lee, my main man, Nitziat, Coach CR. Everyone's loving the two guest spots tonight. The chat's going crazy for him. Again, Alexander, my main man, the predicate, another great high IQ basketball mind. Coach CR, Alexander. Who else we got? The Jukebot June. We
That's my
got
cousin.
Gregory
That's
Lee.
fam.
We got Glamour Knits, another incredible follow on Twitter and a high IQ basketball mind. And Glamour Knits. We really pitched for Timmy, the OG, the greatest member of our KOT chat. We love you, brother. Thank you for being a mod in the chat as well. Here we are at the final discussion point, and I'm not going to have someone go first. Whoever feels led by the spirit of Tom Thibodeau can start. Let's have a
I,
conversation on Tom Thibodeau, who coached a great win tonight after coaching a horrible loss the game before. This has been both his best and worst series of his tenure, in my opinion. Overall, I think it's been really good overall. But the floor is whoever wants to take it and feels led. I will jump in and moderate as see fit. Go.
I want to go because I was killing Thibs the other day, and rightfully so. But but I thought he again did a good job today. Just a lot of adjustments that he made and that I asked for last post game. The elimination of the pick and roll every play for Jalen Brunson that was not there today. We better ball pressure. I see the difference between Indiana's pressure on us and what we're doing. We're allowing them to get into their sets and they're forcing us out. I like that we started our offense a little higher at times. We didn't rush. We played at a slow pace, like no rushing, even to get across the half court line. They made sure to take their time, enough time, not 8 seconds time, but enough time to get over the court. I like the better ball pressure, the offensive movement, everybody moving, controlling the paint. I thought was big the way we staggered Cat and JB. because I mentioned that I don't think they learn how to be their best selves versus next to each other just yet. So them staggering and taking your turn, my turn was kind of a good adjustment if he did it. But my whole thing was it was the type of how we scored. It didn't look hard because we did have the ball movement, we did have the player movement, we did start the game out with a Mitch lob or offer some off screen picks like that stuff like that. That's what you need to have for 4 quarters because you do have the good players like Cat and JB. They can get their bucket whenever they want to. But the other team knows that too. So they're cool. That's why they haven't been doubling Jalen. They're cool with letting him be Jalen Brunson. Go ahead. You want to be Mr. Clutch? But go ahead. But we're not going to let everybody else join the party. And I feel like we finally turned that on them today. Staying home. Been asking for that since game 1. We did a good job today of just staying home. Defensive rebounding. I thought it was cool. Some like just his offense and the defensive rotations, the defensive matchups. I thought a lot of times that we had couple of games. Sorry, we've had people that shouldn't be guarding certain people. You understand? Like I felt that maybe OG should have took Halliburton, sometimes Siakam, sometimes too. Like things of that nature. But I thought he did a very good job going with the bench and letting them do the switch ability that any one of them could guard Hallie, and they did well with that. The only thing, what else did I say? Well, he had something else I wrote down because I needed it. Oh, the relocation, just the timely subs. I thought he did way better. The only thing that he did repeat from last game was the whole Josh Hart thing, and it kind of worked out at the end, but not, it was a little murky. I mean, if the game was a little closer, if he still had done that, we might have felt a little way, but we had the game kind of, by double digits at the time. So
right,
he rolled with his guy. I just wish that he would, have everybody have the same leash type of vibes, accountability. It was something else that I wrote down that I can't find, and my memory not jogging because I am roses and petunias.
Yeah. Well, you get some other opportunities to come back into. I'm sure someone will say something that will spark your memory.
Probably.
Does anyone else want to step up and have a conversation? I also have some takes.
Lee, I'm gonna roll out the red carpet for Thibs, so I'll wait. I'm gonna roll out the red carpet.
All right, Freezy, the floor is yours, bro. What you got? Let's talk Thibs.
I hear Freezy go.
Man, I legitimately think that Josh Hart is the Benjamin Buttons of Tom Thibodeau, right? Like, you see how Josh is, right? And if you can imagine Josh at Thibs' age, I think it's the same person, right? I know that sounds weird that somebody can be a 6'4" power forward, right?
I'm picturing that. It's not pretty.
But Thibs did that. Thibs used to be a 6'4" power forward. So when you watch Josh Hart as a 6'4" power forward, it's like. So Thibs did some great things in the series. He tried some new stuff that backfired, and I know people want him gone, whatever. But for certain things, I'm gonna say this about Tom Thibodeau. First of all, if the Knicks pull this series out, and I hope they do, I have faith that they can, then Tom Thibodeau gets, in my opinion, gets a lifetime contract, no paperwork, right? If Tom Thibodeau gets this team to the finals, bro, you gotta give this man a lifetime contract with no paperwork. You don't need no lawyers, right? Now, but here's the thing. In order for Thibs to get this team to the NBA Finals after digging themselves in a hole, right? There are certain things that we'll have to do, and I think Thibs is averse to it. We gotta diversify the offensive attack. It can't just be Brunson's turn, Cat's turn, Brunson's turn, Cat's turn, Brunson's turn, Cat's turn, and then when they can't go, then somebody else pick up the slack. I feel like we need to have a balanced attack where all 5 guys on the floor are a threat to score the basketball in any offensive possession. And I know what people are gonna say. Well, Mitch is a defender. Let me tell y'all something. I played basketball, right? I already know when a big, and this is about, if you play point guard, you know what I'm talking about, right? You have to be able to read the bodies on the floor to know what passes are there and what passes aren't, right? When Mitchell Robinson comes off the screen, like when he says this, for one, I don't like Mitchell Robinson setting screens 40 feet away from the rim, right? Because you totally eliminate Mitch, period, right? But if you're gonna do it, can we at least set a back screen with a guard for Mitch's man so that Mitch can get a clear runway to the basket, right? You said a back. It's the I want to call it the Stockton screen, but it's not Stockton. It's one of those gritty Utah guards that used to set back screens for Karl Malone, where Karl Malone can roll to the rim and you can hit Karl Malone at the rim for him to finish.
Was it Hornacek?
Might have been Jay Humphreys, maybe. It could have been Jeff Malone. It could have been any one of the. But if we show a threat at every, I'll give you an example. The Indiana Pacers overplayed all of our scorers so much on a play that Josh Hart hit Mitchell Robinson under the rim wide open for a dunk. Right? That should be telling everybody something. They're overplaying us on the perimeter so hard that the biggest dude on the floor is left wide open. This is a Thibs thing, right? Because Thibs wants 2 things. Thibs wants more 3-point shots, right? And he wants offensive rebounds, right? My thing is with Thibs, if we're able to make all 5 players, Mitchell Robinson, I counted at least 8 times that Mitch was open tonight, where all the big has to do is show his chest to the guard, right? Like say if B comes off the screen and she knows I'm rolling wide, but if she sees my outside hand up and she can see my jersey, she knows that there's a pass there. But we look at that. We dribble straight to the tallest man and try to shoot a jump shot over the tallest man and then force Mr. Rebound. What basically in a nutshell is what I'm saying is I think Mitchell Robinson can be a double-double guy. If we focus some of this on some of our passes on, or some of our attention on Mitchell Robinson in the paint. Like our paint scoring shouldn't come from Josh Hart offensive rebounds and Karl-Anthony Towns dribble penetration off the perimeter. Are we going to live and die with Josh Hart offensive rebounds around the rim, Mitch putbacks, and Cat dribble penetration off the rim? That's how we score at the rim. Is that how we're going to live? We can't live like that. I think it's incumbent on the coaching staff to say, if Brunson can't make that pass at that angle, get the pass away from Brunson and hit Mitch on the roll. Right? To me, that's if Mitch is a factor down low, the thing that we complain about the most, jump shooting, is easier. Because defenders legitimately are in jeopardy if Mitchell Robinson, say at right at halftime, Mitchell Robinson has 7 points and 8 rebounds. Going into the half, the coaching staff on the other team is like, hey, we got to stop Mitchell Robinson in the paint because Mitchell Robinson finishing this game with 15 points and 15 rebounds is going to hurt us, right? But we don't even look at the game. Mitchell Robinson caught a lob tonight, and I think I missed the next 8 plays because I passed out. I couldn't believe they threw Mitch the lob.
There was actually 2 of them.
Right. And that's the thing I'm getting at. Like, when you read the floor, this dude, you had the passing angle. The guy is doing the right thing. He's got his outside hand up. He's doing all the stuff for you to get Mitch the ball. And we don't even try. We'll just dribble the ball, move it back around the rim. And then Mikal Bridges, who I love, by the way, I'm just no knock on Bridges, right? But Mikal Bridges will take that two-step fadeaway over a defender, make a miss, right? But Mitch was probably open 6 seconds before that. What I'm saying to Thibs is there's a lot of meat on the bone left. And I'm not knocking Thibs for the way that he feels like is the best way to win. What I'm saying is that's not the only way to win, right? That's not the only way to win, right? We know if Cat catches the ball in the post, that eliminates Mitch offensively, right? If Cat catches the ball on the box, Mitch Robinson can't be in a dunker spot because his man legitimately will divide the distance in half, play halfway between Cat, halfway between Mitch, right? And take away Cat's drive and Mitch off the, you know what I'm saying? So why not try something different? Why not try both of those guys up top, right? Coming off of dribble penetration where you know Cat can handle the ball against an opposing center, and Mitchell Robinson most nights is more athletic than the center he's playing against, right? It's not going to be every night because some nights you're going to run into a Wemby, you're going to run into, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, but in terms of coaching long-term, man, listen, the long-term thing shouldn't even be a question if the Knicks make the finals. The Knicks make the finals, there are no long-term questions, right? In the short term, in order to get us out of this series, if we want guys to knock down shots and play better defense, you have to weaponize the guys that you have. Take advantage. It shouldn't be all Jalen Brunson on offense and all OG Anunoby on defense. Weaponize everybody. It should be a team effort. So that's my thing about the Coach Lee. I'm sorry if I got on the soapbox or whatever, but I do feel like my guy is not taking advantage of. There are plays where Mitchell Robinson has a step on his man. In the half court, you're not going to get much more than a step on your man. A step is all you need for Mitch to catch a bounce pass and dunk it, right? A step is all you need for Rick Carlisle to all of a sudden say, hey, instead of coming out high, play deep as the deepest. And now you're playing deep as the deepest. Now people, 3-point shooters above the break have a little bit more room to get those 3-pointers off. Right? These are the small things, man, is what I'm talking about. So, yeah, man.
I enjoy criticism on anyone when they deserve it, but especially appreciate that Freezy's diatribe then, because he went mostly with X's and O's. Typically, when you hear people say fire Thibs or criticizing Thibs, you kind of hear the same spiel, you know, steams, drop coverage, play more guys. No bench, you know, the same buzzwords without going into the X's and O's of what kind of play calling, what kind of positioning on the floor would you want to see? And I appreciate both Ebony and Freezy doing that. B, I feel like you and I probably align more than we do with the other two in terms of our outlook on Thibs. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to unload the clip?
I'm gonna let you lie. I feel like you got a little something in the bag that I probably got in there.
I feel like he holding back. I feel like he holding
back.
back.
He's a little spicy. I'm gonna start off with narratives. They're a mother effer because it's like a game of telephone. By the time you get to the 50th person, it's a whole different thing. Because when Tom Thibodeau came to our thing, I wasn't a big Tom Thibodeau fan. I'm a huge Derrick Rose fan. He made me love basketball. Shout out Derrick Rose. So I had my tenure with Tom Thibodeau. And when I had my tenure with him, I kept hearing this narrative. He gets his players hurt. And ever since then, people keep saying that. And then he gets to New York and he hasn't got a single player hurt. The players that were hurt were players that it happens in a game, or they were already injury prone. He starts to coach and he starts winning games and he starts making the Knicks a non-laughing stock. People are actually starting to be like, wait a minute, I actually want to play in New York again, and we're actually winning games, and we're making the playoffs. People are now starting to say this man doesn't make any adjustments, and he doesn't do. People don't even talk about the fact that he injures players anymore. That narrative is dead now. They're not even talking about it because Iron Man just played a whole season under Tom Thibodeau, and I said it. If he breaks Iron Man, then that man injures his players. He has not broke Iron Man. Mitch Robinson is still playing, and he plays under Tom Thibodeau. OG Anunoby is an injury-prone player. Has played his most seasons he's in as an NBA player in a New York Knicks jersey, and he plays under Tom Thibodeau. So it's so crazy how people you gotta like you gotta just punch him in the face to knock a narrative out, and I think that's what he does again in this series. He's down, and I keep hearing that he's stubborn and he does this. I haven't watched a single Tom Thibodeau game where he decided I'm gonna do what I do and fuck y'all. I haven't, pardon my French, I haven't seen a game like that. I saw JJ Redick do that though. I saw JJ Redick have this whole season on the line and not even think about playing somebody, not even the thought process. We're sitting here talking about 6 minutes, 11 minutes. That's us coach trying something. That's trying. And every coach has their ways. I don't know a single coach that doesn't have a way. And Tom Thibodeau's ways, unfortunately, he trusts his starters. And you don't become a starter if you don't trust, if you're not trusted. So, yes, that's his way or the highway. So when he tries something and he realizes it don't work, yes, he's going to go back to his tactic like any other coach. Another thing that's crazy about Tom Thibodeau, he has the hardest job in the NBA. Every other team that I've watched so far hasn't had to adjust as much as the New York Knicks. They go out. Pacers have not adjusted. That's why I also think they're fork in the thing. But that's another conversation. They haven't adjusted. They come out from game 1 to game 5 the same way, the same exact way. They didn't make any lineup. They didn't change anything. They did the same thing from start to finish. Of course, they do their little tactics. Tom Thibodeau made a lineup adjustment mid with the season on the line, and people are still talking about he don't make adjustments. Yes, he did. He just did. He just played Dylan Wright and Landry Shamet. He played over Jalen Brunson. He's playing people over Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter. That's a key clutch player of the year. That's a coach realizing that I have to do things that are important for a win. And sometimes it's unfortunate that I say you can't do this without doing that because it's in order to win a title. It's not this or that. You don't have a great player and a bad coach and win. You don't have a great coach and a bad player and win a title. You have a great player and a great coach that wins the title. And Tom Thibodeau is the last remaining great coach in this playoff. I'm sorry, he is. And the reason why we get there is simply because he's going to continue to make the adjustments. Unfortunate, I know we wanted to see this and that and that and this, but it worked. We're here. We're here. We're here with that with 3-2
Right.
because of what he has done. Another thing, I've coached. I have numerous times said something in a huddle break, and I've saw the complete opposite of what I just said in that huddle go on in that goddamn court. So that happens as well. Sometimes I don't think that he has the best playbook for us. I always made a joke that is so funny. I wish Tom Thibodeau ran the triangle that we had back in the day now that we complain about. Because I would love to see the ball move a lot more. Of course, but he has a tactic. He's a defensive first coach. That's why we brought him in. Defense wins you titles. So and Ebony also said there's one ball. So the fact that we lean on defense first, it's kind of hard to operate an offensive team when you're a defensive team. We're not going to be strong suited in offenses, which is why again we bought Karl-Anthony Towns in, which is why we have Jalen Brunson. Because when it all fails, yeah, we look to them. And I understand the flippy floppy where people want them to coexist at the same time, but they're new. They only played 82 plus these playoff appearances together, and I think they're doing an amazing job for that. I think they just got compared to Kobe and Shaq numbers today. I don't know many people who Pascal Siakam and Tyrese didn't do that in this series yet, and they've been playing pretty well. So, and that's just their first year together. So I think that patience is important, and I think people have to. You could have 100 people watch the same exact movie and you'll get a different take. And I think what a lot of people have to do with Tom Thibodeau is just do a little bit more homework. This man didn't work this hard and get this job by accident. It's not an accident that he's in this position. He won an NBA title as an assistant, but he has an NBA championship. He has that in this. He's been in these positions before. He's been in this chair before. And I know a lot of coaches down 3-1, people write him out. But last time I checked, we're down 3-2. You need 2 more wins now, not 3. That's not as hard. That's not as hard as it is now when you now realize I could punch you in the mouth. Once you open up, we get to round 7, 8, 9. It's round 12, baby. It's 12 rounds. You get to fighting when you start to realize that in round 8, I can knock you the hell out. And that's where we're at right now. I think we're about in round 8, 9, and we looked a little fatigued. We had to get into the corner and, mask up a little Vaseline. But I think Tom Thibodeau just realized I could stop Tyrese Halliburton. And when you stop them, I just told you, when you take your leader and your leader is not having fun, as we saw when Jalen wasn't having fun, we weren't winning. We don't win when Jalen's not having fun. We don't win when Karl Towns is not having fun. We don't win when Tom Thibodeau's not having fun. When he's looking over like, Precious, come here. They want to hack Mitch. And I think, go to you real quick. Again, in the coaching chair, I don't think that it's more of a stubborn thing or Tom Thibodeau doesn't know what he's doing. It's more so he looks at him, and every single time we put you on the court, they're fouling you and you cannot hit free throws. He's he's also as much as a liability as he is everything to us sometimes. So I think sometimes that kind of triggers a coach where you want to, but you think about some things and you're like, and I think Tom goes into that sometimes with Mitch. I think today there was no excuse. I can admit to that. Karl Towns has a bum knee. We're up big. Take him out. Put Mitch in. I think that was unanimous across the board. I can agree to that. But I think sometimes, like any coach, I don't think it's just Thibs. You start to consider the fact that he's an offensive liability sometimes when it comes to free throws. And a lot of teams are going to that. Every team has went to that this series against us. And it slows down our offense. And when you're trying to get OG and Mikal involved, you can't have the offense slow down. Because yes, Jalen and Kat, soon as you say go, they can go. But OG and Mikal, those are not those type of players. So when you're hacking someone and stopping not one or two, you're stopping four players from getting their offensive rhythm. I can see why a coach doesn't go down with him during a stretch. That's almost duh. But it's no excuse to the times where he could. There are many times that I can agree, and no coach is perfect though. There are times I've watched Ray Carlisle. What the hell are you doing? There's times I watched JB. What are you doing? There's times I watched Joe Mazzulla. What are you doing? Joe Mazzulla's whole coaching style got him eliminated. Nobody's asking him to be fired. So as I said, everybody has their style. It's about if you like it or not. And I always tell people it's not about if you like something. It's about if you got to respect it. And if you like Tom Thibodeau or not, you got to respect that man. That man has brought us an Eastern Conference appearance in 25 years. I'm 30 years old. I've never been alive to remember a good Knicks season that I'm cheering this hard, this excited, this believing in it. And it's all thanks to that man. I don't know any head coach that was bad and won a championship. I don't know any. So I think that the thing is, people have their opinion on him, and it's okay to dislike him. But you got to respect him. And I think people disrespect with their opinion. And that's all it is with Tom Thibodeau. I don't know a single Knick game that I watched this season that I'm like back to back at least where he's like, you know what, this didn't work, I'm gonna do it again. He changed every single game this series. He changed his style, whether it worked or not. Players also have to show up. That's important too. As much as he shows up, players have to show up. And I've watched players miss free throws. I watched them turn the ball over. I've watched them not rebound or box out. I watched them not switch, let a player shoot a wide open three. That's not Tom Thibodeau's job. That's who you played millions of dollars to, and that's who you gave all those picks to, and that's who you did that for. So again, it takes 50-50. That's why I'm not big on the fire Thibs. I'm not this, because last time I checked, Thibs got us to the Eastern Conference Finals just as much as Jalen, Brunson, Karl Towns, and the rest of them. So if you're gonna do that, you got to do this. And I don't see how you would have fired him mid-season and we're in the Eastern Conference Finals with a new coach. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm cooking with him, and I agree with Uncle. If he gets us to the finals, I don't ever want to hear anybody talk to us. I don't even care what happens in the finals. Don't ever tell me fire Tom Thibodeau again.
So I'm gonna cook for a little bit, and then I'm gonna pass the rod back to Ebony and Freezy if they have any concluding thoughts or retort the points that have been made in favor of Thibs, because that's what I'm about to do. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I no longer drink alcohol. I'm also a recovering Thibs hater. I hopped on SNY with Dexter Henry when he was gracious enough to have me.
Shout out to you, though, Lee. Shout out.
I had a fire Thibs sign, and I spent many an episode on this show arguing with Ryan and Jay Ellis on the merits of Tom Thibodeau, and then I did what you said, which was do my homework. And as I started learning more play calling, I started appreciating more of what was happening on the court, and I realized the narratives that people said about Thibs not running certain plays actually just wasn't true. And it might actually be that when those plays are being ran, some people just don't see them or are able to see them because of their basketball IQ.
Right.
And basketball IQ is a learned thing. You can grow, but it takes effort. It takes commitment to doing it and watching more of the Knicks to be able to see things in different contexts. That takes a lot of work. So when you have a wife or kids or a full-time job, it's very hard to do that. I have the luxury. Basketball is my work, so I can spend a lot of time doing it. Not everybody can. Now let's talk about Tom Thibodeau. Some things that I really like about him, and that I think that had been destroyed this postseason is that who has he beaten? Think about who he's beaten. He beat 2 championship coaches, Joe Mazzulla, the defending champs, and Nick Nurse last year, the Philadelphia 76ers. Who has he lost to since he's got Jalen Brunson? He's only lost to championship level coaches. He lost to Spoelstra against Miami, and he lost to Rick Carlisle last year in Indiana. Both those guys have chips. Spo has multiple championships. So it's understandable that he was outcoached by coaches that have a ring. To me, that makes a lot of sense to me. But when I looked at what happened last game, I agree with Ebony's criticism and Phil's criticism, 2 members of KOT, who talked about the Josh Hart minutes, overplaying Josh Hart. Freezy mentioned it earlier. Josh Hart is like his Benjamin Button. They're so alike, and it's to me, it's a crutch. I think Josh Hart, in many ways, is Tom Thibodeau's crutch. I think he played too much last game. I also think he played too much this game. But why did that game end in an L and this one end in a W when they played almost the same minutes, same role, same usage rate? Is because there were some minor adjustments in the play calling, but major adjustments in the effort and commitment on the players to execute the game plan. Last game, we had the same number of turnovers as we did assists. 17, which is egregious and unacceptable on both counts. Tonight, we lowered that. Still not good, but 15 turnovers. We raised it to 22 assists. The players dictate that. Tom Thibodeau is not out there dribbling the ball off his foot. Jalen Brunson is. Tom Thibodeau is not out there jumping in the air and passing to the crowd. Josh Hart is. Tom Thibodeau is not getting titty-tat calls on Obi Toppin. Karl-Anthony Towns is. The fouls, the turnovers, the missed threes, the iso ball, those are things that players control, not Tom Thibodeau. And the players have to have a certain level of grace because people are there to watch them, not Tom Thibodeau coach on the sidelines. Additionally, something we saw the entirety of his playoffs is an overuse. And Ebony made this point last post game, and I thought it was brilliant. So I paid attention this game. Thank you, Ebony, for continuing to teach me. She said, why are we running so many ball screens for Jalen Brunson? And I had to think about that. Okay, what happens when you run a lot of ball screens for Jalen Brunson? It brings a big, usually Mitch, because he's the most efficient screen setter, up to the line or the perimeter, which takes your offensive rebounder away. If JB decides off that screen to pull up for a 3, you don't have your main rebounder there. The driver, you're being on Josh Hart or a very weak rebounding OG Anunoby or a weak rebounding Mikal Bridges. Well, what happened this game? Less ball screens. Brunson was operating mostly without a bid coming up to set a screen, which made sense because he rejects them more than anyone in the NBA. So let that man cook in space. Let that man cook by himself and take someone off the dribble or decide to pull up for 3 and leave the bid by the rim so that they can have opportunities for offensive rebounds. We did that tonight. What else has been happening in all playoffs? That high pick and roll that Thibs has employed, that the JB a downstream for JB, did the basket, going downhill, and then he can make a decision to spray it out, take it all the way, or pull it for a midi. That was kind of replaced more now with what Ebony asked for last game, off ball, side pick and roll option for OG and Bridges. We saw it multiple times tonight between multiple players. We saw bid to bid between Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitch. We saw guard to guard between Deuce McBride and Jalen Brunson. Not only that, we also had Deuce McBride and Cat in more pick and roll action. Yeah, but right now the chemistry between Cat and JB is a little off. But let's not just end that play action completely. Let's run sets, but switch out Brunson for Deuce. And Deuce and Cat, I thought, ran the pick and roll fairly efficiently tonight. Thibs also staggered the minutes because of that lack of continuity between Cat and Brunson, which was dominant in the regular season and pick and roll. Today, he staggered the minutes, and when Cat was out there having the offense ran through him, what did you see? You saw some horn sets. You saw some pistol action. You saw guys coming off of curls. You saw off-ball ball screens. All those things, everyone's like, Thibs runs an elementary school offense. It's all ISO. You have to educate your eye in order to see the things that are happening on the court. And I think some people can't see the forest for the trees. They're stuck in their own biases. They're stuck in their own narratives. Some people are not stuck in those things. Some people just are in the mindset and think they have enough evidence in front of them that Tom Thibodeau is deservedly fired. Why is Tom Thibodeau the only one ever talked about being fired? People rarely say fire Leon Rose. People rarely say trade Jalen Brunson, trade Karl-Anthony Towns. Some really incel people in their basements in the far corners of Twitter say that, and those people are laughed at, mocked, and ignored. But the ones that say fire Thibs all of a sudden, and I'm talking from experience, they're celebrated, they're lauded, they're pushed to the front of a crowd, and those voices are amplified because it's an easy elementary, lazy cop-out to only say fire Thibs, but keep the main core intact and keep having Jalen Brunson, the most on-ball player in the NBA, the most over-dribbling player in the NBA, the most ISO attempts in the NBA. This is who these guys are. They're playing hard for Tom Thibodeau. If Tom Thibodeau had lost that locker room, you wouldn't have us winning this game and a shot to win game 6 and a shot to be back into the series. Play the bench more. The same rotations, minutes, and roles were the exact same this game as they were last. Everyone's already commented on Josh Hart playing the same minutes, maybe playing too much. He did. Guess what didn't happen? No DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet in the third quarter. What happened last game? No DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet in the third quarter. Guess what happened this game? No Mitch in the fourth quarter. What happened last game? No Mitch in the fourth quarter. Of course. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns not in foul trouble, and you had to, but the game plan remained the same. The difference was the players came ready to execute. It's on them. Players win games. Coaches help win the game, but the onus is on the guys in the jersey, in the uniform, with the ball in the hand, on the court, shooting the shot. The coach can only do so much. That's my take. I'm going to leave the floor open if you want to rebut, call me a dumbass, roast me. That's all fine. I'll take it.
Well,
But,
All right, so let me jump in. So
They ready, boys.
B,
They
yeah,
ready.
so B is B short for beef. B is short for beef, right?
I
So-
come in peace. I come in
Okay.
peace.
All right. So I'm going to say the thing. Just respond to what Lee mentioned, and I want to respond in a sense of humility and needing more evidence. I think, no disrespect to Lee, but when we say the coaches coach and the players play, is only more evidence that Tom Thibodeau should be fired. Because if it's just about the players, then why is Tom Thibodeau here? What do we need Thibs for? If the players play and the coaches coach, why are we going to bat for Thibs? Right? One of the things I will mention is somebody who studies too much basketball, right? And I need to get a life, a hobby or something. I need to start smoking cigarettes or something to get me away
this
from
is a
basketball.
healthy hobby.
I need to do something to get me away from basketball, right? So here's my thing. There are no new things in offensive basketball. Everything to discover about NBA offense has been discovered.
yes.
Now, what coaches are going to do is take the things that they know of and order them in different ways in order to make an offense look newer or fresher, right? Like they'll have an offense that's screen heavy, right? And offenses that are motion heavy, right? They have offenses with a lot of down screens to spring shooters and so the shooter can replace the rebounder, right? So you see the shooter coming up one way, the rebounder going the other way, so they'll be in more natural roles like horns, right? And so my thing with Tom Thibodeau is, however he gets us to the place that we want to be, I don't care. It's as simple as that. The thing with Tom Thibodeau is if Tom Thibodeau coaches this team to an NBA championship, I don't care if his offense is Jalen Brunson heavy. I don't care if Jalen Brunson holds the ball for 18 seconds out of a 24-second shot clock. Right? But the thing I am concerned with though is if he doesn't get us there and he doesn't show the willingness to adjust in a series, because the thing is Tom Thibodeau is not new to the playoffs. Thibs has been to the playoffs a number of times with a number of different teams. And the fact is, the things that people said in Chicago may have been true for Chicago. And the things that people said in Minnesota may have been true for that group in Minnesota. And if that's the case, why wouldn't the things that people say in New York be true for the team here in New York? Right? What I would say to that is this. I'm not going to say don't fire Thibs, because fans are going to be like, listen, man, this is not just about Thibs. This is about our championship drought. And we don't know how long it's going to be. We don't want this window to shut with a guy that. So I understand where they come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the mindset of whatever works, go with it. Whatever doesn't work, make the change. Right. That's where I'm at with it. I think Tom Thibodeau at the beginning of the season, at the very beginning of the season, right, he figured out that Karl-Anthony Towns is not a role man. Right. And for those that watch, role men get the most two players are the most likely to get hurt in an NBA season. You're a big role man and you're two-way defender. These players are going to get hurt. And the reason why they're going to get hurt is because the roll man is constantly rolling through a sea of bodies in order to get to the rim. And he's more likely to get poked, prodded, step on a foot, bump, knocked down, something, right? And two-way players, it takes too much energy in order to be an elite two-way player. It's the reason why you see the Paul Georges are always hurt. The Kawhi Leonards are always hurt. The OG Anunobys were hurt, right? Because you're elite on one end and then you're asked to be elite on the other end. Meanwhile, when your tank is on empty, you're still asked to be elite, and then you set yourself up. You're susceptible to injury, right? The thing ultimately with Thibs is, Lee, if he has figured it out, right? If he has figured it out, then the evidence will speak for itself, right? If the changes that he made or is making, that he's in the process of doing right now, right? If these things are successful, then Tom Thibodeau won't need an advocate, right? But if the same things fans have been complaining about for 5 years shows itself in this series, how else are Knicks fans supposed to feel? That's my question for Lee. That's my question for you. I'm sorry if it was wordy.
How should they feel if we don't win a championship or we don't get to the finals this year with Thibs?
Well, basically, yeah.
I mean, this is year one with this core, this altered core. It's not year one with Brunson or year one with Josh Hart. Certainly not year one with Mitch, but it is a year one of this adjusted starting five that includes Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, who were added this summer. I think patience is included. Why do you want to fire a coach and hire someone who's fired a month ago? That logic just hasn't made sense to me. Or fire a coach and then hire someone who's never coached an NBA game before, much less a playoff game. The options out there are very unknown. Everything comes with a causality of potential defeat. The risk is very high. Keeping Thibs has risk, certainly, but I think firing him and going after someone else has even more risk because it's unknown, and that coach might not even be a good fit with the players. The one thing we have right now is continuity in that locker room. If they're arguing on the bench, I think the first time those guys have arguing. The reason that it didn't continue and go into a fist throwing incident is because those guys trust each other enough to have those conversations, even in the open floor of the bench. That's normal NBA shit that's been going on since AAU in middle school. It happens, and I like that it happens because that means that no one is off limits of being criticized. If Tom Thibodeau doesn't win the finals this year, that's fine. I'm an out the window guy. I thought championship, I thought dynasty, but I'm kind of in a minority in that sense because I'm just an internal optimist. This is a 3-4 year window. We're not a team cobbled together of old ass aspiring contracts and veterans who are 34, 35, 36. We went to Phoenix Suns last year with a bunch of bums and Devin Booker. A bunch of bums, Agent Durant and Devin Booker. We're a very young team with everyone's at median age 28, 29. We had a 4 or 5 year window here. Year one, East Conference Finals. It's pretty damn good for the first time in 25 years. I'm watching Tom Thibodeau, and there are certainly mistakes being made. He certainly has a crutch in Josh Hart, but I don't understand the logic of you just got to the East Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. Let's fire this guy and go to a complete unknown name that's never coached an NBA game or got fired a month ago or a year ago or 2 years ago. That logic, I can't compute it in my head. I was with it in the thumbs down seasons when I was saying it because Johnny Bryant was on the bench. It made sense. We're a contender now now.
Yeah.
It's dicey. It's a thin line between complete collapse and winning a championship. And right now, Thibs is showing me that he has what it takes. But again, I'm not perfect in my take, and I'm not an absolutist. If we fire him and hire someone great, I'm not going to mourn Thibs or have a rampage. Or
I can name 4 guys that are the example that you said you don't trust. Pat Riley was the Lakers play-by-play guy, and assistant coach to Paul Westhead. Yeah. They took an unknown Pat Riley in the 80s and hired him as the head coach, and they went on to a dynasty, right? Eric Spoelstra, I understand. Eric Spoelstra was the video guy in Miami, and they trusted him, right? Groomed him, and an unknown guy. Greg Popovich, the guy that took over for Bob Hill, was in the front office, knew basketball, but didn't have coaching experience. Nick Nurse, the guy from the Toronto Raptors, had no coaching experience. He took over for the guy that was the coach of the year, took that team over, and they won a championship in his rookie season, right? Yeah. The reason why I bring those names up is because I feel like in the hiring and in the firing and hiring process, you should not already have your candidate selected. You should open it up to a full search and try to find the best talent and ask anybody that you interview how they feel like they can come in, fit with what we already have, and what do they have that they can introduce to get this team over the top. Also, ask the candidates during your interview process, what flaws do we have that you see that need to be fixed, and how can you fix those flaws? Now, you're not going to hire every candidate that you ask that question to, but what you do is get answers from multiple different voices about your flaws from the outside, as opposed to how you interview yourself from the inside. Right now, I'm not for firing Tom Thibodeau. Right, I'm not. But if you're polarized on one side of the conversation or the other, right? If you're on this thing, he better win with this talent. This is a championship team, and if he don't win, he should be fired. Or if you're on the other side thinking that this is the first year of this group and you need to give Tom Thibodeau, whichever side you're on, I think you have to be in the mindset that this total thought experiment is all about what Tom Thibodeau can do with talent, right? I think the end result should dictate what the future should be, right? That's my thing. And just one other thing too, I personally don't believe this is year one of the Knicks, right? Because I think the roster turns over. You're going to change your roster every year, just about. Now, you're not going to make wholesale changes every year, but from year 1 to 2, when we lost to Atlanta, I felt like Tom Thibodeau got outcoached by Nate McMillan, right? Yes. And in that first series, when he decided to bench Elfrid Payton and start Derrick Rose, I felt like he got outcoached. And it's not because he didn't have the answers. It was because I feel like the roster he had overachieved. And then he asked the guys on that roster to do things that were not, like Reggie Bullock being a 3-point shooter. Reggie Bullock can hit threes. He's not a 3-point shooter. He's not going to do that on high volume. So with all of that, I'm going to say that the 5 years that we've seen of Thibs should count on his resume. All of it, right? If we say that Tom Thibodeau made the playoffs 4 out of the 5 years he's been here, then we can't say that this year is year one. It's not fair. To me, it's not fair to the total conversation to give him credit for making the playoffs in all those other years and then say, well, if you don't win it this year, then, this is year one.
I'm going to say one quick thing, and then I want to pass it out to Ebony because I think she has a lot to get off her chest, and I want to give her some time to shine. But all the coaches you named who were assistants or film guys, they all inherited a team that had a better player than Jalen Brunson. So let's get that. I mean, Kawhi Leonard and Michael Jordan and Tim Duncan are all better. I'm not trying to denigrate.
Oh, Phil Jackson. I forgot about Phil Jackson.
But they're all better than JB. So he did inherit that. All right, Ebony, the floor is yours.
Yeah. I listen, and I'm just going to start it out like my guy Fritz summed it up perfectly. We trying to give him credit for a mess that he created. we're trying to give him credit for his own mess, basically. I get it. We've been down in the dumps for a very long time. There's a coach that got us out the dumps. We want to put him on a pedestal. I get it. I'm never the one to put people on pedestals though, so I'm gonna try to keep it without hating as much as possible. It's Thibs is good at he's a good coach, right? I think he's a limited coach. As good as he is, I still feel that he's limited. Like we talked about how good, granted he didn't have his defensive anchor, but we've talked about how good of a defensive coach he's been for a very long time. For our defense to not show that until we got Mitch back and got all of that back. So we can't forget those type of things. Like he's not perfect. He's far from perfect. You mentioned the amount of adjustments he made today, Lee, but those is what I needed him to make game 1, game 2, game 3. Why does everything have to, why do our backs have to be against the wall for you to adjust? Why does it take you so long for you to call a timeout to stop the bleeding? Why does everything have to go to shits for you to make an adjustment? Why can't we just listen? He claimed to listen to the game all the time. The game tells you what to do. Well, then take them damn earphones off.
Right.
Take them shits right off. Because it is what it is. Like I can't pretend like I've been a Thibs fan for very long too. Derrick Rose is one of my favorite players. Also, follow him since he was in college. So I understand Thibs' game very, 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 very much so. And then I follow him to Minnesota, so I understand Thibs' game very much. And everybody, like my mom, I got to that game 1 was on my birthday, right? I watched it with my parents, my mister, and my son, right? My mother said, "Yeah, you got to get rid of Thibs. This is Thibs stuff." He said, "He's at his." This is what she said. He's at his peak. He don't go further than this. This is my mom. She's at his peak. This is what mom is telling me. Oh no. So we talk about Thibs and you can't blame him, but you really can, because who's in charge of all the rotations? Who's in charge to get people organized so they know whether to hedge and recover or switch? Whose job is organization? Whose job is to run the plays and tell the person with the ball which play to run? And if they don't run that play, whose job is it that can actually let them sit right next to them for not doing what they asked for? So if you're allowing all of these things, that's coaching. Who gives Josh Hart a longer leash than everybody else, no matter in a playoff game? There's no tomorrow in playoffs. There's no favoritisms in playoffs. You either show up or you sit down.
Hey, Ebony, can I ask you a question just real quick?
What's up?
Please. If Tom Thibodeau is an excellent defensive coach, how come the Knicks never have the number 1 defense in the NBA?
That's the narrative. Back to narrative. People create a narrative.
Ain't that narrative,
I don't know why anybody started that. I'm unsure why anybody started that. He's just a good coach who has a defensive mind first before offense. So.
Okay.
But you want to know why? Because I think they lean onto that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not a good offensive coach. So you don't say that he's just a terrible coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he's not. Yeah, he's not. But
so people say he's a defensive specialist. I don't know about that specialist
I don't
part.
know why
I think
they say that either. And I love Thibs. I don't know why they say that.
I think it also has to do with the Boston Celtics. He was a defensive coordinator for that 2008 championship with the ice strings and coming up with that concept and then making them the number 1 defense in the NBA at the time.
Yeah, I think so, because I seen today a lot of stuff. Again, it's organization that comes from the top for me. Everything, the allowing people no accountability, that comes from coaching. If you set the tone with if I spaz out on my superstar for not playing defense, then Deuce knows you can't go in there not playing defense, or you can't go in there not hacking, not slacking. You get what I mean? If I allow
I don't understand
what I'm saying. Huh? What you don't understand?
I don't understand. I don't understand what you mean about. Was that saying? Are you saying that you're talking about Jalen Brunson?
Yes. No, I'm saying if you don't show effort. I'm sorry, I played for coaches that if you didn't show effort on both ends, you had to have a seat.
Yeah.
That's the type of
Absolutely,
time.
I
That's the
agree.
type of time that I'm on with everybody. It don't matter if you the superstar or not. If you're not showing effort on that end, you have a seat.
So I have a question. When I first saw the roster that we got, I'm actually shocked that we're this far. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sad for
I'm
even
not.
saying this out loud. I was like, Precious Latora is our backup. I was like, Campaign is our backup point guard. I literally was like, wait a minute. So shout out to the fact that we made those tiny adjustments to get Dylan Wright and stuff. Because yes, we
Right.
would be stuck with Campaign, by the way, and another offensive person that we need defense when Jalen Brunson goes out. So I have a question. As you coach, though, talent is a thing, though. I know effort is it would always outweigh hard. When hard work, talent works hard. That's that quote.
Right.
But at some point, you need your talent back in the game. So there are times where I've looked to the side and I'm like, yeah, no, just yeah, no, like that, yeah, no. And
Mhm.
I looked at the scoreboard though, and I know I have to, and I know I need to. But when I look, I'm like, yeah, no. And I do. You guys don't feel that sometimes when I watch the Knicks and I see exactly why Tom was like, yeah, no, yeah, no. I'm
Right.
gonna
No,
have to go with
no.
talent right now.
I
Just
can't. I can't. When our talent is not hard working, you go to the next. That's
I
what I'm
agree, but
saying.
that's what like it's
That's
tricky.
what I'm
That's what I'm
saying.
like.
You
No,
have
I'm
to. You
asking. So my
have to
question
go
is
to
more
the
like,
next.
do y'all understand that mindset sometimes though? But like, or do you still feel like nah, like he's not? Because I saw where Jalen Brunson, he loves him and he did not play him. Like he didn't play him.
Yeah, but that's now, y'all. This is the last two games because we're down a billion. We need these games. You get what I mean? This is my back to my original point. Like this is
So
now.
your big thing is his stubbornness.
It's stubbornness. It makes this.
Oh, I know you just say you feel like he's at his peak. Like there's no
Nah,
that's
my
his
mom
way of
said he had
doing
to speak.
things.
I
And
hope she's hella wrong because I need to get to this finals. Like I need, yeah, like
Right.
I
This
need
year.
this.
Yep.
This year,
This
and I wasn't the one who said next year. Lee can contest. I've been since the beginning. This could be our year. This is our year. Like
Agreed.
that.
Yes.
That's
Me
how
and
the
Ebony
beginning.
live out the window. Yes, we do.
Jump
no, the
on my
starting
round
lineup
bronze.
convinced me tremendously. It was when I saw that bench. I said, oh.
No,
I felt
but
like
that's
we
what I'm
needed a
saying. That's
little help, but Dylan Wright did change my mind tremendously.
even when we had Jericho Sims, I was still like, we got it because Jericho Sims does
Forgot
what
about him.
wins championships, rebounding and
Yeah, he
defense.
played well. He upped his
I
trade
thought he
value.
should have.
Tibbs
Yeah,
upped his trade value though.
yeah.
Yep.
He did, but I just with Tibbs, he has to. He could have played him more. He could have got a lot more for Jericho if he would have played for him because it seemed like Milwaukee loves him. He might
and
just.
this is the roster that Tibbs was happy with, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
what Tibbs wanted.
This is his roster.
Yeah.
This is my thing is not getting the most out of your
Well,
players.
I'm sure
The most out
the
of your
US guys
players,
he
though.
was available. Sometimes I'm sure he could have got other pieces, but some people aren't available.
But I'm a person for everything happens for a reason, and DeLon is helping us right now.
Yeah.
So this
But
series
I
he
do
helped.
agree with you. There are times I've watched the game and I do press for a timeout and I do press for a switch. And at this point, I agree with y'all. Precious and Mitch are not a bad switch out for Cat at this point. They have shown that if you put them on the court, they'll play well. I do agree to that.
Yeah, just listen to the game, my man. Like a lot of stuff, Lee, you said those were just adjustments. He wasn't doing that. You get what I mean?
True.
You mentioned a lot of adjustments that he did, not that what he's been doing, what he changed.
But because what he's been doing, won 51 games and got to the ECF.
Not all the time, though. What he's been doing, though, has not gotten us past this team, though. That's what
That's not fair to Tibbs has been making adjustments all year. The only thing though is when it doesn't work in a flashy way, people don't give him credit for it. Because there were times when he was just running Zoom jet to death when you pin your wing in the corner, then bring somebody down for your wing to come across and catch the ball on the move. The era was, I'll name it this, the OG Anunoby dunk era. You remember at the start of the season when it seemed like OG Anunoby was dunking like 8 times a game?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that, right? Where Tibbs was running a certain set to do that. And then he got away from it to try to do something else because Mikal Bridges' shot was off. So he had to make the adjustment of you can't run Zoom jet because now they're not going to respect Mikal Bridges' jump shot. Y'all remember Mikal Bridges' jump shot was off?
That's because he
Hard to
I
see.
thought his jump shot was off because he changed his form, which was stupid. Why would you go to a whole nother team with a whole different form?
No, we
Just-
coming
Keep
on my
doing
man,
shit.
Ebenezer. We coming on my man.
Right,
That was crazy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Thibs
He wilded
Tibbs
with
was
that one.
Tibbs came in with a plan, and he was making adjustments throughout the season. But since we didn't score 200 points in a game, or no player went off for 70 points, Tibbs don't get credit for that type of stuff because it didn't pop. But
Yeah.
what we did notice though is even through all those minor adjustments throughout the year, Tom Thibodeau got 2 All-Star starters in the All-Star game.
See, Uncle Freezy, I'm sorry, I'm a player's player, so I can't agree. Did he do it, or did the fact of the matter that Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson and Cat is Cat?
So
Who puts him on the court to get in that position? But it goes back
But
to
what I'm
that.
saying is,
Who puts him on the court to get in that position?
Cat has been an All-Star prior to Tibbs,
Never
right?
a starter though.
Yeah.
Never a starter.
Prior to Tibbs, but then he's getting more work. He doesn't, and Tibbs in the Tibbs offense is ISO heavy, so the
Cat
stars
also
got the
wasn't rebounding
ball.
like that in
The
Minnesota.
stars
Again,
have
like
the
he
ball. That's what I'm saying. And Tibbs, it's all by design. Like if you're going to have the ball in your hand, you're supposed to produce, right? So their numbers might look a lot bigger right now because the ball is always in their hand. We're a very ISO heavy team.
So a Josh Hart snub All-Star, that's nothing to Tom Thibodeau. It's all
Josh
to Josh Hart,
Hart
but you don't give Tom Thibodeau some
we
credit.
just talked about the whole Josh Hart. If I play 50 minutes, I better have 10, 10, 10.
But there's a lot of players who play that heavy and they're not touching numbers like Josh Hart.
right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Me as a player, if I'm playing 50 minutes, I'm impacting this game.
I mean, you Ebony, you like that.
I can't say I can't agree
that's
with
just
the
my
Josh Hart
mentality,
snub
though.
because Trae Young was carrying his franchise, putting up crazy numbers, and he got overlooked too. So
Yeah, his disrespect
you
is
only
real.
you only have a certain number of spots, and most years you have like 20 to 25 great players in each conference, and you only have 12 spots.
And you got to remember, we're in New York too. That helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
That helps. Like it helps. I remember seeing all the Minnesota Wolves fans talking about, oh, now he getting this recognition. Because they're a smaller market team. When you go to a bigger market team, you get results like this. That's what I'm saying. I can't give all of this to Tibbs. I can't.
It's definitely 50-50.
I feel Fritz. I feel Fritz summed it up perfectly like that. The way he said, kind of. How I feel about Tibbs in the situation. A lot of the adjustments stem from his coaching philosophy in the first place. If it's how I feel.
I think Tibbs does make adjustments. I think he might make them later than many fans would prefer. But I think he does eventually make them the same way that he decided to bench Elfrid Payton and put Derrick Rose. By the time he did it, it was almost a sign of defeat. Like, okay, you guys are out. I am now having to acquiesce my game plan to what Nate McMillan is doing. But tonight was the opposite. Rick Carlisle, for the first time, it said on the broadcast, played a heavy, hard zone this game where it had been not part of their defensive scheme. They've been playing 94 feet. They've been playing a lot of blitz. They've been playing a lot of man-to-man, but they zoned tonight. Tibbs forced that hand because Karl-Anthony Towns was getting whatever he wanted in the paint. I mean, damn. To me, this has been a very good back-and-forth chess match between Carlisle and Tibbs. I put Carlisle over Tibbs, not just because of Chip, because he's had a high sustainable success at four stops now. Detroit, Indiana the first time, Dallas, now Indiana the second time. He is a champion, high level, one of the best evolving coaches in the 21st century as well, changing as the game changes. But this has been very back and forth between him and Tibbs. And I'll give Carlisle have a slight edge. They're up. You have to. But Thibodeau is bouncing back these last two games, the last two with the wins, and really, really impressing me. Giving me an actual, real perspective that we can win this series. And if we do, oh shit.
Hey,
It's a parade in my city. It's gonna be a real parade in my city.
So would you give Tom Thibodeau for credit for winning the middle of this series? Rick Carlisle won the beginning. Would you give Tibbs credit for winning the middle, like 3, 4, and 5? I think so. So New York is won 2 out of the last 3 in the series.
Yeah. They won the first 2, then we won, and then they won, and then we won.
We won the last 2 out of the 3. Yeah, facts. Because
they went up 2, then we won, then they won, then we won.
We lost last game, but we won the game before. So yeah, the last Yeah.
So I want to give them credit for winning, for like bouncing back, for not getting, not only not getting swept. We knew the Knicks weren't going to get swept, right? But the fact that he won two out of the last three, to me, is impressive. Clearly, he did something. Now, one of the things I want to, hey, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not hosting. I don't often get to talk to Lee. Once in a while, and while I'm here, I just wanted to pick his brain, right? One of the things that I was thinking about with Thibs is that what he mentioned, one of the things he did, to me, is not just X's and O's. I think he is what he's saying to the players, like how he's coaching them up, not schematically, right? Not schematically, like not, delay the front until the passer gets into position and then front when he's ready to pass. None of that stuff, right? I'm talking about, like, I think Tom Thibodeau may be saying the right thing. Is that a part of the equation, or is that?
I think so, because this roster is not a bunch of young guys that are learning the game on the fly. It's mostly a bunch of veterans, with the exception of Deuce McBride. But Deuce McBride came into the NBA as a very high-level defender and a high IQ offensive player, although the shot wasn't there yet. These guys, I don't think, need schematics. Josh Hart, OG, Mikal Bridges, Cat, they do need a certain level of assignment, what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, for sure, because all of them have weaknesses on the offensive and defensive side. But I don't think this group needs a high IQ JJ Redick type mentality where he's really trying to cross match and do a bunch of off balls screening. They need, I think, someone who can keep them together when Pacers are throwing their haymakers, to keep them organized, to keep them mentored, and to keep them together as a unit. Even if it means some dissension between them and him, as long as they're together, the Knicks will have a chance at the end of the game to win. And I think that's why you're seeing everyone, Ebony and I called this all season, that this specific group of players, especially with guys who are being bashed, Cat and Bridges in the beginning of the season, we all knew they would be playoff risers. And they would be play better in the playoffs because they're high fundamental, they're high IQ, and they're built to be, with their playoff experience, to succeed when the pressure is really tight. And you've seen that when you did it with Obi and IQ and RJ in the past, but now you're seeing at RUFC. This is the most veteran-laden roster Thibs has had. Veteran with talent, right? I ain't talking about no Elfrid Payton and Nerlens Noel.
Yeah.
Veteran with talent. This is the best talent and the most veteran-laden team he's had this far in New York, and you're seeing the results of it. They match his coaching philosophy and what Thibs is able to bring as a personality on the sideline. I think they're very in tune with that, which is why we're still in the series. I think if Thibs would have not overcommitted Josh Hart and expanded the rotation to at least 8 or 9 in game 1 in the fourth quarter, we would be up 3-1 right now. That's the mistake he made. Then he made it again in game 2 by not spanning the bench and relying too much on Josh Hart. He did that game 2. That was on Thibs. Every loss and every win is on the head coach. There's a part of it that's there. But I think you also have to give him major credit for eventually adjusting. Just not, I think he didn't adjust in the same manner and time that all of us would like for him to. But it's his prerogative. He's running the show. We can only sit here and watch and judge.
Right.
It is important how you, as a coach, because I've done it, how you deliver your message. So that is important. You don't want to, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. So I think that you're right. He does probably, that is important. That was your question in a sense. It is important.
Right.
According to Jeff Teague, he said Thibs don't be saying nothing.
I like Jeff Teague's show. So I like his show. But sometimes
I watch too. I don't know. According to Jeff Teague, Thibs don't say nothing.
That's because Jeff Teague wasn't a Derrick Rose or Jalen. We know what type of point guards Thibs likes. We know what type of guard Thibs likes.
Freezy, look at how Timberwolves responded to OKC at the brink of elimination. Exactly. And look how the Knicks responded in the brink of elimination to the Indiana Pacers. I think that says everything you need to know about how he's tight and connected, and Thibs' leadership style. Although the schematics and the rotations might not be what
Lee, I do
high-level basketball minds won't.
We can't say that without saying this. We have to credit the players, though, because I watched Timberwolves' body language. They didn't even want to fight in the second half. There wasn't a single player that was ready to play defense, rebound the ball.
Julius Randle, bro.
Yeah. So that's why I say it's 50-50 with me. If I'm gonna bash Thibs, I'm gonna bash the roster as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that thing is I think they the Timberwolves thing. The Timberwolves have a mega star, and everybody else knows that they're role players.
You know that picture of that nice car with that house? That's Anthony Edwards in
Right.
Minnesota.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And so but to that though, that can be deflating. Like if your star player isn't playing at a certain level, his development path is more important than everybody else's. So when he's having an off game in an elimination game, you got to keep going to him because he's learning even in failure.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys around him are like, man, I could have hit that shot, bro. What do we, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But here, when you have Jalen Brunson has already gone through that in Dallas, right? Mikal Bridges, people forget Mikal Bridges was up 2-0 in the NBA Finals with the lead in the third quarter of Game 3 of the NBA Finals before Milwaukee flipped the switch and ran them out of the series.
Facts.
Right. As soon as that what's the name? Budenholzer realized that he can put Giannis on DeAndre Ayton, that flipped the series just like that. Right. And so Mikal Bridges was making champagne choices in Game 3, and then they never won another game after that. OG Anunoby legitimately had an appendectomy right before the playoffs started in Toronto, and so he watched as that team won a championship adjacent. Right, Cat was in the Western Conference Finals last year.
Yeah, and played horrible.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. I think the team
played like absolute ass.
Yeah,
he did his best John Starks
but the series before that though against Denver, he was probably the best player in Minnesota.
Yep.
Right. So
played the best I've ever seen on Joker for sure.
Yep. And so I say that to say the difference between this Knicks team and other teams is that this team has tasted failure so much in so many other places. When you bring them here, they're being coached by a guy whose coaching career has been sealed with the fact that he has failed. And to me, that's the uniting thing with this team. They're not giving up because they know they've tasted that thing before and they don't want to have that feeling again, especially in the worst NBA city to fail.
True.
Right. And so that's
in
when
a city that only knows failure.
Against the worst teams, I hate Indiana. I think I hate them more than Boston.
Right. So yeah, that's why I was asking.
No, I hate Boston. Are you ready?
If Tom Thibodeau was saying the right things to the guys, like guys, listen, it's not even about X's and O's no more. Rick Carlisle already know what we want to do. The players already know what we want to do. We know what they want to do. Right. This is all about, and then fill in the blank for each player, and then fill in the blank for the group, for the entire entity. Right. That's the reason why I asked the question. Like, what would Thibs say? Did you go to the Cracker Jack box and say something cliche like it's now or never? You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't sound like Thibs, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Damn it, man.
Like defense.
Get back on D. Yeah. Get set.
Yeah.
All right.
Or what he do, he hit and then he just look away like and start mouthing and stuff like, what is he talking about?
We have been cooking for over an hour and a half, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Time flies.
I thought we was rocking till 6:30.
We'll hop over to your channel, Freezy. But I want to say that I really appreciate y'all, and I want to give everyone a moment to their closing thoughts, and also tell the people at home where they can find you on the interwebs. I'll start with you, B.
Hey, but again, thank you so much, Lee. It's not over till it's over. You need 4 to advance. So again, until a team wins 4, I'm rooted for my team, and my team is the Knicks. And last time I checked, we're still in it. So until we're out, let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. But you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Sporty Spice with 2 C's. That's SportySpicce. That's me, baby.
All right, Freezy, tell them where to find you and your closing thoughts.
So my closing thought for tonight is, I think there was a Jewish kid from the village that had a song called "It Ain't Over Till It's Over." Anybody, you ever heard that song, Lee?
I haven't.
I think there's some dude, maybe his name is Lenny Kravitz or something. I can't remember what his name is, right? He had a song like "It Ain't Over Till It's Over," right? Knicks, I'm gonna say Knicks in 6.5, right? You could find me in most social media places, either at Big Freezy, on X, Instagram. And then shout out to the X crowd. The X crowd is growing. Man, the Instagram crowd is growing. On YouTube, we are Blorange Tears. And so the channel has been growing like a weed, and it's all thanks to y'all that love conversations like this one, with B and Ebony and Lee, and everybody. The group of individuals in Knicks Universe that make the conversations about the Knicks so incredibly entertaining. I want to say shout out to my guy Jay Ellis. Y'all have still never seen us in the same place at the same time for some reason. So shout out to Jay Ellis and others. And let's go Knicks.
Sis, before you go, I want to say thank you for being here. This is my first time hosting a podcast episode with new faces, so it was a little nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie, but having you here, having my back, made it a lot easier. So I appreciate you, Ebony. Please tell the people where to find you and give your closing thoughts, sis.
You can find me here after every post game. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Mad Nick fan. I host the space every pregame. On Twitter, call Your Take Knicks with my guy Brutus. And Liberty season, shout out to Liberty, who also won today. This is the second time that both of them played. I don't know if I could take this again, but I do it again. Yeah, I do it again. I do it again as long as they're both playing, I guess. And you can find me at where am I? Oh yeah, on Twitter after every Liberty game except for today. At Bowling with the Queens, because we had this playoff game. So Bowling with the Queens after every Liberty
Bronx, New York,
game.
Stand up.
No, I'm from Bushwick.
That's right. We represent Brunson here.
BK over here. Where they at?
Where you from, Lee?
I'm actually born and raised in Dallas, Texas. My dad's from Long Island. I'm the first generation here, born and raised in Dallas. I became a Knicks fan and connected with my father, and it's ended up becoming a great lifeline between him and I. And helped
to go against Dirk is pretty cool. I like that about you. I like that because I've been a Dirk is cool.
I was the number one Dirk hater for a long time. Lost a lot of money, got into a lot of physical altercations, talking ball with Dirk fans. And then 2011 proved me wrong. Dirt found himself and he balled out. Find me on Twitter at _LeesThibodeau, LeeEscobedo, or Google me, Lees Thibodeau, and you'll find usually my most recent articles. I will be covering the final of this series for The Guardian, and I can now announce that I am now being brought on as a freelancer to write about sports, culture, and arts for the New York Times. So this is going to be a huge opportunity for me. I told the KOT crew earlier in the chat, but I found out today that my first pitch, which is going to be on the NBA, got picked up for the opinion section. So it's going to be a grueling, rigorous process of editing and all that. But as JL has told me, when I told him, it's in the bag. So I appreciate you, JLS.
Jay on the mind. She said gunshot. She said gunshot. We ain't got the gunshot sound.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the gunshots.
There you go. That was your gunshot.
I appreciate that, sis. I thank you very much to B and Freezy for coming on the show. This was a great conversation.
Stand up.
Definitely gonna have y'all back. Hopefully together, because I actually really loved the chemistry between us four, and I thought we all had good taste. Even got into it a little bit. Always respectful, but I love disagreeing as much as I love agreeing. And then of course, to me, one of my favorite people in the whole world, Ebony. Always great to podcast with you, especially after a win. All right. Follow KOT on all channels. So this is for TikTok, which is blowing up.
That means I'm going to see you after game 6, right? That's what that means? All right. That's what that means.
Make sure you follow us on TikTok. What else? Twitter, Twitch, maybe some other things. I don't think we're on Facebook. Hopefully not. That platform's kind of dead. Definitely YouTube. Like, subscribe, and follow Jay Ellis on Twitter at the Knit the Time Show. He is one of the GOATs, Mount Rushmore Knit fans. And let's go Knits, man. All right, let's really win this game 6 and then win game 7. Let's prove the entire world wrong. And I think the best way that we can get that energy is having conversations like this with like-minded, intelligent Knit fans who are here to talk ball and only ball. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Real quick before you close out, I just want to say, because I seen my cousin there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, Scooter.
Cousin.
Love you. Appreciate you for tuning in.
That's really sweet. We love you, cousin. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, shout out to Knicks World again.
But yes, Knicks World, Blorange. How do you pronounce it, Freezy? I always pronounce it wrong.
Talking about Blorange Tears?
Blorange Tears.
Blorange Tears.
And of course, Your Take Knits, which is a Twitter space for every Knits game. I'm usually in there, not anonymous. I actually pop in and sometimes do my takes as well. And then, of course, you can find my stuff on the internet. All right. As you always know, it's a mess out here in these Knits, New York Knits streets. That's the show. We out of here. One love.
Hey.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.